It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Am I streaming over here? YouTube? Yes, I am. Hey, how y'all doing? I appreciate y'all joining us, getting ready to let the people in to have Sunday dinner. So I appreciate y'all. This is every Sunday we do this here at Urban Intellectuals. My name is Freddie Taylor. I'm the CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals, but we're about to get ready with Sunday dinner. Grandma said it's okay to let the people in. So we're going to let our Zoom crew in and have this discussion away. All right. Hey, everybody. Appreciate y'all joining us today. Let me just get my settings right. Bam, that should be good. All right, now takers. Bam, recording is going. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Appreciate you joining us. Hey, Ronald. Appreciate you being on camera. Good brother. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Hey, William, how you doing? Hey, Gregory. All right. Yeah, turn your cameras on. Let's see each other this Sunday, right? Appreciate y'all being here. Hey, Roz, Phyllis. Thank you, Cecilia. I see you. Yeah, all right. Roberta, Angie, Mildred. All right. Appreciate y'all all being here. Hey, Don. All right. Getting things started here this Sunday for Sunday, April 27th. All right, the day, the month, the year is going by quickly, right? Things are definitely moving along, and y'all president is being y'all president. I know how y'all feel about him. I know y'all love him so much. But let's jump into some of our conversation. Where are y'all watching from? Let me know where you're watching from in the comments. I'm in the south suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. Oh, let me know if this is your first time being here for Sunday dinner. So drop a one in the comments if you are new to Sunday dinner. And let me know where you're watching from as well. If you've been here before, you can give me a 2+, right? Yeah, some of y'all can give me 20 in the comments as well. But we do this every Sunday. And we love to have this engagement. First time Arizona. Hey, how you doing? All right, I'm going to drop in I call it our theme song to set the mood for the discussions here today. But let me drop this on and get Sunday dinner rolling.
Urban intellectuals. Open your eyes. Urban intellectuals. Yeah. Check. In a world that's unjust, I'm screaming, we love us. Equipped with knowledge, we are dangerous. In a world that's unjust, I'm screaming, we love us. Equipped with knowledge, we are dangerous. Yo, you got the power in the palm of your hands. I mean, literally, 52 flashcards, all about black history. They focus on success and less about misery. Information is the missing piece. Are you familiar with Black Wall Street or the Haitian Revolution? How about Angela Davis or Huey Newton? Mark Dean helped create IBM. Richard Wright was a poet. Have you ever heard of him? Get familiar with your culture. Woman like Evelyn Granville probably paid the way for Oprah. Trying to be fly like Miss Bessie Coleman or like James Baldwin. I could be a spokesman. Man, the power of the black fist. What you know about the '68 Olympics? Dick Gregory, yeah, he kept it realer than most. Dr. King was instilling the hope. Let's keep it going. Open your eyes.
All right, open your eyes, right? That is we call it our theme song here around here at Urban Intellectuals. My name is Freddie Taylor. I'm the CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals. I want to welcome you to Sunday Dinner. So here at Sunday Dinner, we play on the nostalgia of coming together as a family, right? Y'all remember those Sundays going over grandma's house and enjoying the meal, joining the dinner. Hey, Cecilia, I see 20 in the comments, right? Join the family, coming together to keep the familial bonds together, but also to have discussions about what's going on in the family, around the family, in the environment, talk the world issues, continue to build, grow, and learn from one another. Thank you. That's kind of in the tradition of what we're doing, although we don't have the fortunate opportunity of being with one another and with grandma not being here and enjoying her meals and all of the food, right? The soul food that we enjoy during these times. But we are here to have our soulful discussions so that we can continue to heal our communities, heal ourselves, continue to grow and learn and commune with one another, right? So even though it's online and it's virtual, it's a good interaction and a good engagement. I can tell you everything is better when you participate, right? So if you're new here, don't be afraid to raise your Zoom hand and chime in on the conversation. This is in the spirit of old school AM talk radio, right? So we want to make sure that you're being heard. This is your opportunity to chime in, you ask questions, and to share your experience, share your input, right? So that's kind of where we're going with this flow. We've been doing this for I need to figure out how long we've been doing it. So Cecilia, she put 20, and it sounds like a joke, but you might have been here 20, at least 20 times, right? Like, so we definitely appreciate you as well, sister. So, all right. But today, conversation, right? If you weren't here, oh, I got a couple other things, right? So if you weren't here last week, you missed out on a great conversation, right? You're gonna hear that recurring theme every week. But if you're one of our VIP customers or one of our members, please stay tuned to your emails because we're inviting you out to behind the scenes discussions, right? We are releasing our at some point I'm gonna release this podcast, right? So I've been collecting interviews of people within our community to share valuable insights with you, share their experience, share their expertise, and all of that good stuff. But we are inviting you to behind the scenes conversations, right? So if you're a member of any of our programs, or if you're a VIP customer, you are getting invites to these opportunities to be there live during the recordings, and we've had some great ones already, right, in the last couple of weeks. So I just want to make sure that you're being alert to that. Let me think, what else is going on? Hopefully, you were at the AI summit that we had last week, right? Alicia Little came out and blazed the room, right, again, and continue to grow and build in that. Hey, Ramona from Queens. All right. I'm here. Hey, Cecilia, I saw that. All right. Georgia, 3+ times. Yeah. Um, yeah, so anyway, there's always a lot going on, and I just want to make sure that I keep alerting you to that. Hopefully, you have an opportunity to come on out and engage with us. I do want to say, please engage us on our social network that I can't find right now. Here we go. So make sure you come on over and join us on our social network. Is that it? Yes. That's one of the posts. It'll take you to the social network, but we want to continue the engagement over there and continue to fund and the discussion and learning and growing and all of that good stuff. So we're just crafting out our own space. All right. So I had to get through all of the formalities. I ain't even all of them, right? So I'll weave some of them in. But I want to pick up a real important discussion here today, right? We're talking about wealth and wellness, healing financial trauma, right? So as we've been exploring around the community, where's the food? Where's your mom? Shia, you didn't get a plate? What happened? Well, if you didn't get a plate, you must have either been late or you might be on grandma's bad list, right? So gotta make sure, gotta make sure that you gotta get yourself together, right? Ronald said Alicia's presentation on AI was fantastic. Yeah, y'all know that. You definitely got to get in that building. Cynthia, you must have been out back with them one cousins, right? Them cousins that was acting up, right? So grandma might have locked you outside. Glad to be here today. Been around a long time, recuperating from eye surgery. Oh, hey, Roberta. Well, I'm glad you're recuperating, and hopefully that gets better as well. Uh, she was at the bad table, right? Y'all know it's always that one cousin, right? Or maybe a group of them, right? As well. So yeah, she was at the bad table. Come on now, sister. Let's get it together. You know, grandma's forgiving, but she don't play with her sweet potatoes. Right. Okay. It certainly was great. Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely been a lot of good stuff going on. There's a lot more coming, right? So we are exposing our community to our network, and we continue to learn and grow and build and be the solution that we need amongst ourselves. We are our own solution, right? So like, let's just start to lean into the issues and continue to build. And I think that this money conversation, this wealth and wellness, financial healing conversation is one that is needed today. So I'm going to drop my intro question. Um, to kind of get things going, right? So y'all know you can raise your hand and kind of chime in. But what is a money memory from your childhood that still impacts you today? So I'll put that question out there. How do you think? And then I'll drop two of them so y'all can raise y'all Zoom hand and come on and chime in. Again, the discussion is better when you participate. So make sure that you come on and chime in, and then let me know, let the people know if this is your first time at a Sunday dinner, or if you've been here before, let them know where you are from. So what's a memory? I gotta move this over. What's a memory from your childhood that still impacts you today? What's a money memory, excuse me, from your childhood that really impacts you today? Like a lot of this is coming from just having discussions amongst our community and realizing that, in childhood, we do develop a lot of our money tendencies that we're using today. And again, we talk about this concept with generational wealth and all of that, but it really lies in some habitual habits that are built in a family, right? In a people. So what are you passing along to your children? Let's see. Christine says that money is a burning hole in your pocket. All right. And then Cynthia says, Mom always talking about a budget, but I never saw results. Oh, interesting. Booze is for the selling, not the drinking, says William. Always be able to pay your rent. People don't know if you eat beans every day, but at least you'll have a roof over your head. Love that, Don. All right, anybody willing to come on and expound a little bit more on these thoughts? Like, go ahead and chime in. You can just open your mic or chime in. Don't be shy. The conversation is better when we are involved, right? So share,
I'll
share.
jump in.
All right.
My
Come on to
my
the
parents are always on us because whenever we get money, there was a store down the street from us, and we'd always want to run down to the store and buy penny candy. That tells you how old I am, penny candy. Anyway, so my parents would always talk about that the money's burning a hole in your pocket. And my grandmother would always say pennies make dollars. So that was their way of telling us that even if we only had a few pennies, we needed to save it so that we could make dollars. So they were always pushing us to save, which, for me was a good thing because it was a great learning lesson and caused me to take all these coins, which is what I was pretty much getting when I was younger, and saving them and turning them into dollars to do something bigger with them.
Mm.
So that's my 2 cents.
Nice, nice. Pennies make dollars, though. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely the smaller component. Thank you for sharing that. Cecilia, and then anyone else, you can raise your Zoom hand and come on into the conversation.
Uh, One thing that I know, my dad was in the military, and we moved around a lot, but everywhere we went, we fished every weekend. Basically in the summer, I do remember going ice fishing. And for a while, the kids lived with my an aunt and uncle. Uh, and he hunted as well as fished. So, and we always had a garden wherever we were.
Mm.
So I didn't realize that we were poor because we always had food. We had enough to share with neighbors because I remember my dad cleaning fish before he even gave them out to the neighbors, before they were shared. And I remember sitting on the porch when we lived in St. Louis, snapping peas and beans and canning. We always had food during the winter because even in the cities, there was always somebody in a pickup truck that came on the block with vegetables on a particular day. And what we didn't grow, we got vegetables when they were in season, and my mom canned vegetables. So we didn't really worry about having food. Uh, and when it came to money and asking for something, the answer was always no. We didn't have money to spare, but we had life sustaining items. And when I think about it now and the condition that we're in, uh, I think we need to go back to those old ways and to become self-sufficient and using barter uh, to get through things, because it looks like we're in for a struggle in the long run coming up, and we better protect ourselves by getting back to those old ways of working together and growing our own food, taking care of stuff. So
Freddie,
that's what I remember.
Freddie,
Thank you.
Freddie.
Thank you. Who is that?
It's Ron. It's Ron Remsen.
Okay. Hey, good brother. How you doing?
I like to tell a little story about my experience with savings.
Okay. Come on
Can you
with it.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My first experience with monetary savings was when I was in public school. I'm going up back about 65 years, where the public school at that time was introducing you to a bank in Brooklyn. It was called the Dime Savings Bank of Brooklyn. All of the students in that class were encouraged to go to this bank and open up a savings account. I remember that as though it was yesterday. Now, I understand that they're not doing anything like that or anything remotely like that today. So when I joined you guys with that book about, I don't know if it was you guys or this other guy, about his book that he created because his son had part-time jobs. His son was making a lot of money, and he asked his father, "Dad, what should I do with this money that I'm making?" So the father, he said, he went to all the libraries, he tried to research stuff. There was nothing about that. So he wrote his own book. And oh my God, my God, my God, it was an eye opener. So once again, I learned that, and I'm following through to that to this day. But the only problem with the banking situation today, as you already know, Freddie, it is chaotic. Mm-hmm. They are robbing the Black community blind with all those fees. Those fees are making the banking industry by itself extremely solvent. So we need to start doing this banking or money education all over again, because we still don't have a clue, Freddie. We still don't have a clue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that, good brother. Appreciate you being here. Grandma says she'll save you a slice of peach cobbler. uh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, financial education is definitely important, and it's something that we're definitely going to pick up around here, urban intellectuals, helping our community. I didn't realize how far out of the game we are. Lakeisha. So I got Lakeisha, Terrence, then Alicia. So Lakeisha.
Hey, Freddie, I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute. This is Dr. Lakeisha McGee. This is my first time attending, so thank you for having me.
Hey.
What I remember as a child about just financial literacy, period, is that my grandmother would always say, make sure you pay your bills, make sure your credit is good. But she never showed me how. She never showed me how to balance a checkbook or to, just ways to effectively be able to keep that credit in order or make sure that I was paying the bills on time. But she always spoke that. That's all I knew is she was pay them bills and make sure your credit is in order. But the know-how wasn't properly taught.
Oh, I like that. Missing the know-how. All right, thank you for sharing, sister. And welcome to Sunday dinner. Grandma was had been looking for you. I ain't want to say nothing. I wasn't gonna call you out, so I'm glad you made it. Uh Terrence.
It's Charlotte instead of
Yes,
Terrence.
I was like, all right, now I'm gonna read the name now, but
That's okay. We both here. I remember the Dime
you got
Club
an echo.
in
Do you have another one that might be open?
That's me.
Mutuals.
I'm muting mine.
Terry's muting his.
Okay.
Have you muted it, Terry? Doesn't sound like it. I still hear.
How
Okay.
about me?
That
I
might have.
see.
No,
All right, I got it.
you got him. Mute him.
No, I thought so.
Okay.
They have to move away from each other.
No, Terry, stop doing it. But anyway,
oh, it's
okay. I remember us having that Dime Club in elementary school where every Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday we had to bring our nickel to school, and we go to our little bank set up in the hallway and deposit our little monies. And then another teaching of savings and being uh, wise with your money. My sister and I were able to get, fortunately, from hard work and savings, $50 each for Christmas in our own bank account. And for our birthdays, we got another $50. And our birthdays were a week apart in July, though she was 3 years and 51 weeks my elder. But my father always said, paper money is flat, it's made to stack. And that meant you gonna save, you save. But then my mother, on the other hand, managed the house and the money. She didn't work, but she always managed to get everything we wanted or needed. And she said, every dollar that your father makes, I'm gonna save at least 15 cents. And after that, I can remember a few years later, it got up to where she's saving a quarter out of every dollar. And that allowed them, Southern Black man working, one income in the family of four, they were able to put that $50 together so that when time we finished school, there was enough money to get us started into college.
wow.
And that was a money management technique. And I still sometimes say, money is flat, it's made to stack. I don't have any, but
I love that. Money is flat and it's made to stack.
yeah, that was my dad. But hey, do what we can.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that. I just like a lot of I almost think of like our elders in that generation being like magicians, right?
Yes.
Like my parents raised 7 children. That is bananas to me. I can't imagine if I had 7 children, I would just lay down. I just couldn't
You
imagine.
scream.
Yeah, like and 7 children and paid off the house, paid off the car, paid off no debt. Just is it's crazy, right? Like it's like how did you learn how to make that dollar stretch like that? All right, let
And
me
we
be quiet.
always had two cars. Now that you mentioned that, that was like, what? Okay. And a
Man,
house.
I didn't even think about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh
I guess
man,
it works.
yeah. We definitely got some, and I like Lakeisha talking about we needing the how to, right? We definitely need
Mhm.
that how to. All right, Alicia.
Yes. Well, this is not my first time. I've been coming for a while. And I grew up where I thought I was in a poor neighborhood, but everybody else tell me I was rich because both of my parents worked. But both of my parents came from South Carolina, and they brought the whole family from South Carolina up to Detroit, Michigan when the automobiles were coming in. So my father started working in the automobile factory, and my dad sent her to school. So she ended up being a bookkeeper at one of the largest banks in Michigan. So my parents always taught us that if you get out of bed, you better be making some money. If you're gonna take the trash out, you're gonna get a quarter for it. If you're gonna wash the dishes, you're gonna get 50 cents. So they always made sure we knew a lot about money because they said that's the only way you're gonna survive when you get older. So we had that built foundation built in us at a long time. And then my father worked enough in a factory that he ended up owning his own barbershop, his own beer and wine store, and he had a church. So after church, he would say, Alicia, go make some sandwiches and you put them out and you sell them after church. So we were always thought about money when we got out of bed. It was like, you're gonna make some money today. And then when my father in his barbershop, he'll say, Alicia, just go make some t-shirts and put something on them. So I would go to the fabric store and I would get like cartoon characters, but they were pillows back then. And I'm going to tell my age in a minute, but not now. No.
We
But
already got penny candy on the table now. So
that's a pit. Yeah. I would be in the kids with every time I would get my little money, I would invite all the kids. I say, I'm going to the penny store. And they would say, oh, I said, I'm gonna get everybody some candy. And I was always doing something. And even in our neighborhood, we was like the first to have the color TV. I would push the TV in front of the big window, our big window, and let everybody sit on the porch and watch their favorite cartoon. And I would say, okay, everybody owe me 10 cents for watching TV. So it was always about making money. So I mean, like I said, I'm over 60. So I've been doing this for a long time. And it's been that point where my father made sure that we worked in his store. You know, if you just come in from school, you're going to stack the pop bottles or you're going to stack the shelves up. He made sure we did something monetary all the time. Because he said, I can give you a fish dinner, but if I take you out fishing, you can eat every day. So he taught us how to fish. We would go fishing early. I mean, 5 o'clock in the morning, Friday on Saturday, and go fishing and catch all the fish we can. He said, okay, you got to clean it. You can't eat if you don't clean it. And we were like, damn, we got to clean this nasty fish. But then after we did it, you know, we found out that that was good for us. Fish was good for us. So they laid down a foundation for us as far as working and making money all the time. So like I said, I've been making stuff and cooking and everything since I was young. My brothers, they were the lazy ones. They didn't want to go fishing because they didn't want to touch the worms. So I was like that one that my dad said, uh, you're gonna be my son, but you're not my son, you're my daughter. Because your brothers, they're not gonna do it. So I was the one that would do all the things with my father. So, you know, I grew up making sure that, and now I do it with my kids. They have a little piggy bank. I was like, okay, you know, you got to do something in order to, you know, to put some money in this bank. So what you gonna do? I'm gonna make up my bed, or I'm gonna do this. And I was like, okay, you know, so you teaching them that money is important. So now my daughter, she's a real estate agent. She's a event planner. She does everything. She tried everything. My son, he went into the military, so he was executive over security for the president, Obama. So, but they saw his demeanor, and that's why he got picked for the job. And I kept telling him, you don't walk out here with your pants hanging down and not a clean shirt on. You put on a white shirt, you put on a belt, and you wear your shorts, I mean, your pants up and have on a belt. So when he went to basic, that's the first thing they saw. They was like, well, who's that young man with the white shirt on and the pants and the shoes? He ain't got on no sneakers or anything. And he got selected to work for Obama. Then he worked for Biden, and then he worked for Trump, and then Trump was his breaking point. He was like, that man is ruthless, mom. Because he would video show tape me, and I would like, what's wrong with your face? He said, man, this man is getting on my nerves, but I can't tell him that. And I was like, well, you need to take notes and say, on this day, he said blah, 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 blah at this time and get a witness. And so when you got that paperwork in your hand, you can say, I have cause to say I need to be transferred to another unit or another position. And they were like, well, where you get that from? He said, well, I got notes of what he has said to me and done to me. And immediately they transferred him. He's like, how'd you know that, Mom? I said, because you got to keep a paper trail. If somebody doing something wrong to you and you can't physically do anything to them, you take notes. and write it down. So he's very successful. He's married now and got a son, and his wife, she's a she inherited a garbage disposal company from her great grandfather.
Wow.
So they were passing down. So I told him, I said, well, at least you picked the right one. I ain't got to worry about y'all and no money and calling me and saying, hey, I need some money. So that was one thing I liked about it is my parents from the beginning laid that foundation so we knew how to carry it on to our children's to always make money, whatever you do. So that's my story.
Oh, I love it. All right. Thank you for sharing. That was an entrepreneurial story, right?
Mhm.
So Dad was definitely dropping gems and encouraging the entrepreneurship when that's evident.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. People are dropping some great comments, thoughts in the comments. Ramona. I need you to unmute.
Hi, everybody. My name's Simona. A little backstory. I grew up in a little small town in Tidewater, Virginia. I was there till I was 8, and there was 5 of us. So my parents decided to have better opportunity in New York, so we came to New York. And while I was there, I didn't notice in Virginia that we were poor. We went to an a segregated school, and so it was very limited access to other races. Like to me, there was black and white, and everybody was Baptist. But anyway, I digress. So what happened when we came here to New York? We moved into a house, and my mom stayed home until my youngest sister went to school. But she always kept her bills because she was the one who had the bills. And my dad, I think my dad was around till I was about 12, till I was, I know it was the first year of high school. And so she took care of everything. So she would write it in this black and white book. And you can see month by month, year by year, she had these books where she would write and when she paid it and how much it was and all of that, keeping up with it. And so as I got older, I started doing that. My first father-in-law was an accountant, so he taught me a little bit. But what happened is I ended up doing my own taxes because we had to pay the first year because we were all claiming everybody, me and my husband. So that say, okay, I need to learn how to do this. But what happened is I ended up using Lotus. I think it was called 123. And I always had a spreadsheet to this day, like 60 some yeyears later or whatever, maybe not 60, but maybe 50 years later, I still have that spreadsheet. So with my kids, a lot of times I was a single mom also. And when they wanted to do something, I said, well, listen, this week we can go to the movies. Next week we can go to the movies and we can have popcorn. And so that's the way I brought them up, because it was no other way to really explain it to me. And I taught them how to do that. So we fast forward, my oldest is 50, the youngest is 38, I think. They do much better with money than I do. They help teach me. They all have their own homes now and stuff. And we always grew up in a house. So when they left home, all of them want to live in the city. Everybody wanted to live in the village in New York or in the boogie down Bronx. But eventually that's what they ended up doing. And so we never knew we were poor. And the reason I say that is when we moved to New York, we had a house. Not everybody had a house. And it took a lot to figure that out because down south, everybody had a house. There weren't any apartment buildings. And what happened is we could always look at someone that would hang with us most of the time. We lived on a dead end block who were poor. They used to steal our socks and our underwear. But my mom used to put a little stitch of our favorite color in the socks and the underwear so we knew what belonged to what because we were stair steps. And so the reason we knew that they were stealing because you would see the thing in the sock or whatever. But that taught us that guess what? It's those people. And then we had other people once we started school that they were even more well-to-do. Like my father was a mechanic, but we always had a junky car. You know how that is. A mechanic ain't gonna work on his. And so it was like this middle thing that I came up with. But I knew one thing. I always wanted my kids to live in a house and to be kind because some people wouldn't come to our house because of our neighbors, because of the people that hung out with us the most on the block, because they would have a fire in their house. They were on welfare once a year. So that taught me a lot. You went to the laundromat with them, you saw how dirty their water was, or they were drinking out of glasses. So that's it was all, and it really taught us a lot of empathy, which a lot of us have passed on to our children. So that's my story. Is the Okay, I've been here a couple of times. I don't know how many times. So that's my story, starting off with that same, now it's Excel, and who knows what's going on with Chat GPT, but I'm very fortunate. My younger two have their masters, and one's a social worker, the other one's executive director of youth that were convicted when they were young. And then my oldest, her and her husband have their own business. So I killed myself to make sure that they got what they did. So now I'm just like, okay, yeah. So now I feel the effect of that. Now that I don't have to run around, they all live in other states and stuff. But I'm grateful for all the lessons that I learned that I was able to teach them, that I'm now teaching my granddaughter. She has a playroom and a bedroom. I said, I didn't get my own bedroom till I got married. And so, I'm really like down to earth like that. My husband's working on his PhD. People are like, wow, I never went to college, because not that it doesn't mean anything to me, but that's not my focus. My focus is to work in your passion. God gave each one of us a talent. And if you use it, then you'll do okay. You might not do great. I don't want to be rich. I just want to be able to buy stuff when I want to. And so I'm going through that. Both the first two, I just went on and I paid for their college. The last one, I said, oh, her dad's around. But that's when he started to go to school. So she's got, she's the only one that's got the college debt and stuff, thank goodness. But it's like, that's what you have to do. And now that they have their children and they're going through college, then, she'll call me, you know what I said the other day? And so between what her husband knows about money and what she learned, they're doing okay. So that's me. The Excel spreadsheet works, and it'll be just on. So when I retired early, my husband said, yeah, but when we going to, I said, we're not going to run out of money till 2022. So that's when he says, okay, you can retire. And that was like in 2017, I think. So that's my money story. I still don't have a really good relationship with it, although I know better because I work in the financial services field. And, like the stuff he was doing with the stock market, I saw it right away. Sell high, buy low. I'm like, he's manipulating it. And so I'm just trying to get the word out to as many people as I can when I see stuff like that happen. I don't want to become an activist because I'm too tired. I'm 69 years old. But I can, at least get the word there, and put that information into a little, whoever ear I can make. I work in a senior center now, teaching them basic computers. So now this has been about a year. So now they're to the point where they're probably like know as much as me. So now they want to know Chat GPT. So this started when the first summit happened. Around that time, the custodian had talked to me and says, hey, I want to take the class, and this is what I want to learn. So I'm learning a little bit with them, and I'm learning all the different ways. I said, when your children, your grandchildren don't know about it, you can show them something. So two of the students, their families had brought them computers. So that goes on with the money. It still goes on with the money. The more information you have to make decisions, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
That's my thought anyway.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing all of that. That is beautiful. And they say keep receipts matter, right? But all of this is real. And I love the conversation, in the AI conversation, because I definitely believe, you can't save your way into wealth, right? So you're gonna have to start adding skills and things to your talent pool. And AI is just offering another one of those things like y'all, I've been like, oh, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book, and like I just ain't did it. And then like about a week ago, I wrote a book, like in like a few days, right? Like just like put it together, but using AI and just doing it, like, and then like how easy and quick that was is crazy. So y'all might see a lot of new books coming out, urban intellectuals, but just picking up a skill to create something. And I forget, what's that, Alicia talking about the entrepreneurial angle and just creating something, right? And like her dad was like, oh, put something on a t-shirt and sell it, right? Like that is still available, right? And then like mixed with Chat GPT and you learn a couple of other things. Um, that's a real thing. Like y'all know we sell these flashcards, right? Like we sell them all over the world, but I don't have boxes of flashcards. I'm in my home, right? I don't have boxes of flashcards in the garage or in the basement or anything. I'm not shipping out of here. I don't actually ship them, right? Like we have a third party warehouse that we pay to store the products. Then when the order comes in, it syncs with our sales system and then they package and ship the product out. Now, all of that costs, right? Like it ain't free, right? But I think a lot of times in our businesses, we get caught up, right? And I think a lot of this stems from our financial trauma, right? I think it does because you don't want to take the risk. Because why would I pay somebody when I could package and ship things, right? Like it's not a big deal, right? And especially with modern mail carriers, you can have the mail carrier pick up your packages from your home, right? So you can do this, right? So why would you pay somebody? But I believe in like expansion, right? So yeah, you can do that if you're selling 1 to 2 a day. But what if you're selling 100 a day or 200 a day? So if you're, or even if you're starting to scale up, at some point that becomes a severe inconvenience to be shipping. So you may as well pay somebody. But a lot of mentalities is like, I don't want to share the money. I don't want to share that money with nobody. I want to make all of that money. So they'll end up foregoing all the additional sales and profit to hang on to the control and hang on to the money. And I believe like that stems from some financial trauma somewhere earlier in their life. So we're gonna dig further into some of these things.
Yeah, one of my
Got,
students I'm seeing on Tuesday, he's finished. He just finished his book, but he has had trouble getting it all to go there or something. So now I got to play catch up over the weekend. So when I meet with them Tuesday, so good job.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, and a lot of achieving anything just comes down to making a decision. Like I'm gonna get this done, right? None of this stuff, nothing that's really probably that you're aiming for is completely out of your grasp. It's just really a decision you got to make that, nah, I'm not going to continue to scroll the internet. I'm not going to watch these television shows. I'm not going to go out for mimosas in the morning, right? I'm going to finish this task. Anyway, that's another conversation. Brother Grady, come on in to this.
Well, yeah, good afternoon, brother Freddie and Urban Intellectual Family. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is very interesting topic once again. And growing up, in East St. Louis, Illinois, my hometown, which is where I'm at right now, taking care of little business, and visiting family. We were taught, to work, save money, and not to spend recklessly, and also what I noticed, as a young adult, in my hometown, East St. Louis, and also across the river in St. Louis, was these check cashing places, that was draining money out of the working class because they didn't have checking accounts. So that was a hindrance in terms of people saving and becoming financially literate. Uh, there wasn't any black owned banks in East St. Louis, though there were business owners, small business owners, of course. But yeah, I noticed that as a young adult, coming of age as a young adult, yeah, like these check cashing places, draining the poor, charging them for cashing the check. And also us, of course, not spending among one another, these little mom and pop stores that came into the community, East St. Louis, North St. Louis, just sucking people money up and people not using their head, in terms of saving, and spending wisely. And I do appreciate that theme the one sister or father instilled in her and her siblings. You roll out of bed, you go make some bread. And that is what, I was raised on myself and also my peers in East St. Louis. So that's all I wanted to say, Brother Freddie. Thank you all for inviting me on the platform to speak my piece and enjoying the conversation, Freddie.
Yeah, all right, brother. I appreciate you as usual for being here. Sister Dawn.
Hello, my name is Dawn. This is my first time here.
Hey, all right. We gotta get like I have to get like sparkles or something the first time. Like everybody wave your hands. That's for you, Don.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am living in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, but I'm originally from Queens, New York. I'm born and raised there. I do want to share a money memory that I feel like has impacted my life more so than any other memories in my life. My mother worked for the bank. As a matter of fact, she worked for the Dime Savings Bank. Um, so money was always talked about in my house. Um, there was a point where I was so-called renting my room from my parents, whereas whenever I made money, I had to give them money out of my check for, and I was like, well, I wasn't paying for it when I was 9. She's like, well, you wasn't working when you were 9 either. So, but the memory I remember is I went to college and I, got a little giddy and I started spending money at the store, the college campus store, and I racked up this bill. And when I got home, they sent a letter home and they were like, well, you can't come back to school unless you pay this bill. So I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can get a job, but it's never going to pay for the bill. So my daddy was a veteran. He went out and he bought this hot dog truck. And she went to the health department and he got a license and he said, here, now make money. So I had this hot dog truck. I still am very creative. So I created this sign. I called it the Push Car Parade. I had more fun doing that than actually selling these damn hot dogs. But my mother would get up in the morning with me at 3 a.m. and we would get the hot dogs out. We would boil them. We would make the onions. We'd make the chili. We'd do all this stuff. And she would tell me, like she would show me, like, okay, well, this is what you made. This is what I'm putting aside for you to pay your bill. This is what's going back into the business. And I did that for 8 weeks that summer. Now, I never got any money to spend. Like it was never like, oh, here, Dawn, here's $100, go to the store and buy yourself something nice. No, everything I made went to pay that bill. So it kind of made it. I think the impact on me was whenever I found myself in a position where I needed money, I knew that I could use my creative abilities and go make it. Like when I got laid off in 2009 during the recession, I needed to make money. So I opened up a daycare. There were just things and it was like, I knew I could do that because I had done that. Even with my parents' help, I still was able to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning. I mean, when you're 19 years old, getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning is not something that you want to do. So, but I did. And, I think everybody in the neighborhood basically paid my bill because everybody was out there buying the hot dogs and the chips. No, I live near the airport. I live near John F. Kennedy Airport. So we had a lot of workers come over from the cargo area. It's like, hey, Dawn, what you got cooking today? So it was fun. It was fun too. So
I love that. I love that though. But I love that one, you had that experience and you were able to gain that
yeah,
confidence. I love your parents' mentality. Like, what? Oh, you got to pay this bill? All right. Well, it wasn't just like, oh, I'll go find you a job. Like, hey, go make some money, right? And so I think that's a good key element to the story. And then I love at the end, you just threw it in there casually. Like, I think the neighborhood
it
paid
did.
paid the bill for me. But I think that speaks to
Community.
people love to support young folks that
Yeah.
get out and
Mhm.
show some
Yeah.
initiative. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, look, well, we buy hot dogs today. We ain't hot dogs. We eat hot dogs again, right? Like we got to get Sister Don to her goals. So I love that though. So I love all of that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. All right. And grandma says she glad you finally showed up. She ain't want to have to call you out. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us, sister. All right. I got yeah, I love everything about it, right? I got a second question I'm floating now, right? Do you think you've ever, I got my hands up, or I saw my hands, I'm coming to y'all. Do you think you've ever made a money decision based on fear, not strategy? I can definitely share on that one. Cynthia.
Hello. I'm
Hello.
new to this. Is my first time, and this is a very interesting conversation. I'm liking this. Although I think the food thing was a scam just to bring me to the table. But I just, I'm sorry, I'm outside. I wanted to say, yeah, when I responded to the first question, it's just a joke that my sisters and I had that my mom was always talking about a budget, but we didn't see really anything from it. But she had three daughters that she raised by herself. So, but my memories, I like what I was hearing Don say. I really like that. And unfortunately, a lot of parents that I knew did not know that information or how to train their children and teach their children about literacy. Um, and as I got older, I was able to understand that. Um, but I do see that there was like a generational thing going here. When I was younger, I just remember living in DC, well, being in DC with my grandmother and just seeing so many people who didn't have money. And I was familiar with that occurrence, right? Everybody, but they could get together and have some crabs, and different things. But financial literacy wasn't taught to us. And so I see that from generation to generation, there are about two or three that I've seen, and none of us had money. And so I found myself running into the same situations financially, not really knowing how to do money, how to add money correctly or keep up with money. Um, uh, and and I just envisioned myself. I remember thinking, I remember thinking, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to change. And so now, after 16 years of marriage that has ended, and he didn't let me save either. I am now in a position where I can learn financial literacy, which is when I saw um, you wanted to talk um, to people, but when I saw your message, I thought, oh wow, I can learn a lot from this. And my new job, I'm really learning a lot about financial literacy and how to take care of my money and the basics of saving money and and what's the word that I want to say? But it's just a lot of things that I'm learning, investing, things like that, and it's just really sad that all those years were wasted. But I'm grateful that right now I have the gumption to go, and I've been doing those things. And so my sisters and I are making a plan to teach our nephews and our nieces, so that they don't suffer like we did. That's all I wanted to say.
No, that's magic. That's the magic right there. Because when you learn these things and you not only do it for yourself, right, which is real important, but then
Mm-hmm.
also teach the next generation so that they can not
Yeah.
only avoid those potholes, they can
Mm-hmm.
grow a lot faster because they start a lot earlier. Because it's
Right.
all about compounding the wealth over time. And if they're starting
Mm-hmm.
early, man,
Yeah.
they just winning, right?
Right. We said it ends with us. It ends.
It
And
ends
we
with
made
us.
that decision. Yes.
I love that. It ends with us. I got to write that down.
Um,
There's one little thing I'd like to just add to what you're saying. It's great, Cynthia. But the principle of pay yourself first,
yes, ma'am.
whatever you get, You know what you've got to pay to Caesar, but get your piece off of it, whatever percentage that's going to be, get your piece first.
Yes,
Then you
ma'am.
pay the other folks.
Yes, ma'am. Love that.
I
Thank
love it.
you.
I got like too much to say, but I'll just say, like, even to that point, there's a book. And it's actually the book that helped me get my I always say we need to get our shit together. But grandma wasn't listening. Y'all don't worry about it. But oh man, now it's like The
It was a
Richest Man
book.
in Babylon. That's the
Oh,
book. The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a really simple read.
okay.
And it's speaking to like what you're saying, but the crux of the book comes down to um 70 30, 70 20 10. There we go. 70 20 10. So getting your budget down to the point where 10% goes to savings. So that's that save 10%. 20% goes towards debt reduction because you got to get rid of that old debt. And then you need to get your living expenses down to 70%
Right.
of your income. I don't
Right.
know. So I know it's always a magic trick, right? But and the philosophy is if you can only save 1%, save 1%. Whatever it is, you got to
Right.
start the habit of saving. But you're trying to
Right.
get in. And then ultimately that 70% of living expenses, you're trying to get that down to 50, 55%. And then obviously you want to get rid of debt reduction. Anyway, the book
Okay. Before, what was that book? I was going to ask about the book again.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay. Are you going to leave this? Will this video be available for us to review later?
Yes, I'm streaming it on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for
Okay.
giving me a YouTube plug. Thank you. Yeah. So make sure y'all following our YouTube, right? So it's Urban Intellectuals
Okay.
on YouTube. And yeah, so every
Okay.
Sunday dinner I stream these. So
Okay.
that is available.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sister. Yeah, this conversation, it's like it's becoming bigger and bigger, that it's becoming more and more evident of how big this conversation is and needs to be in our community. Brother Gregory, come on in, good sir. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Gregory from Southern Illinois. And I really enjoyed all of the answers. Caused me to reminisce and say, well, on the first question about money, didn't have any. We didn't have any. So I'm gonna go ahead and really address a statement that my mom told me. She said, just basically, she said, whatever you do, she said, I want you to make sure that you're doing it better than I did, and that you don't be in the same position. So I took that, with me when it comes to money and wanted to, try to be secure with it. So I'm going to go to the second question is relates if I ever made a decision based on fear versus strategy.
Yeah.
So after I retired from the Marine Corps and came back here after living in Japan, I wanted to start an organization to help the youth with finances and teach them, computer coding. And I appreciate that when I heard about Lotus. I hadn't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, that threw me back too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to make some quick money to help the youth. And so during the deregulations of utilities, I got a call from an individual that wanted to sell me some stock in oil. And so I paid the first $5,000 down. Remember, I'm addressing doing something out of fear with no strategy. And I guess saying no strategy was also lacking knowledge. But I didn't know it at the time. I didn't even have the knowledge. So I was basing it on trust. And then the individual called and said, well, it's going to go up. Can you put down another $1,000? So it ended up being $10,000. And that I just gave away. But then I started doing, dividends and banking, and that just took too long. And I'm fasting forward to saying that I concluded my occurrences or my experience and said the next time I ever donate money, it's going to be based on knowledge. And that's what drew me to your classes, because I know that the stock market works, but and trading works. But do I have the knowledge to do it? That's what I'm lacking. And that's what I want to leave. That's something I want to leave with my grandsons, as I told you about the family meetings that we were planning to have in the last session, to teach them about, not only just banking, because I concluded in the bank, everybody's making money off of you. You're not really making money. And I guess that's why they had us put it all in the bank and, direct deposit so that they would have more to invest, offer you instead of you doing your own investing.
Yeah, can't have
Thank
you
you.
out here making money like we make money.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. Good. Thank you for sharing, good brother. Um, Ronald.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Freddie, of course, my answer to that question about spending money on fear, that was me, number one. Number two, Freddie, realized, but it took me a long time to understand that banks don't loan money to people who need money. Banks loan money to people who got money. All right. Now, I didn't know anything about a FICO score and all that kind of stuff until later in life. My FICO score now, Eddie, is 810, coming from 360.
Wow.
But what I realized, which of course it took me a long time to realize this, is that you've got to get that loan business. If you got them loans, you got to knock them out. I don't care how you do it, but you got to knock them out. But once I got the formula about how these banks do, baby, I'm a whiz now. All right. But I wish I had this knowledge 50 years ago, at least 50 years ago. But now I'm just glad that I'm able to look back upon all those disastrous mistakes because, as Brother Gregory alluded to, you didn't know. You had no information. And what I tell all my students, all my classes that I teach, I said, you got to do the research to find out what this is all about. Once you do your research, now you can sit down and say, is this for me? Or if it is, how do I proceed with it? But education, oh my God. And thank you guys for providing this platform because, baby, we need it like a drowning man needs a lifesaver. Thank you.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Appreciate your comments, good brother, and shares. Samuel, did I get that right, good brother? Get me together on my.
See, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Is it Samuel?
Okay. Yeah, Samuel. It's like Samuel,
Yeah,
except with an
Samuel. All
I.
right.
Yeah, how's it going? How's it going?
Good, brother. How you
Yeah,
doing? This your first time here, or?
my first time, brother Freddie. My first time.
All right,
So I'm
all
glad
right.
to be
Welcome.
here. Yeah, I was matter of fact, I was at the Zoom that we just had this past week for
The
their
AI Summit?
GPT. Yeah, the AI Summit. That was great, man. That was really good,
Excellent,
man.
excellent. All
Yeah, so I'm
right.
learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from you guys, man. I appreciate it. I
Yeah, no
just tuned
problem.
into,
No problem. We got a lot
yeah.
more coming, good brother.
Oh, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna tune in. Yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about my entrepreneurial uh, businesses, that I had and how I got started. Uh, I know when I was younger, it's five of us, two boys, three girls. And of course, being young, my father, he started off giving us, an allowance, which was cool. We had every week, you wash the dishes, vacuum the floors, whatever. And anyway, as I got a little older, I think about 9 or 10, my father, he wanted us as boys, like I said, it's two of us, to go outside the house and then start learning how to work for yourself. So my first job I had was shoveling snow, And so once I went out there, I gathered my friends together. We went out shoveling snow. And after that, I liked it, making my own money. So I'm making my allowance and also I'm making money from shoveling snow. So that was great for me. So then I said, I got the entrepreneurial bug, to where I said, okay, I want to make some more money. So I started. I asked my mother, I seen this ad in a catalog. I'm dating myself. It was a catalog, that sold. They said you could sell Christmas cards, and so that's what I did. That was my next business venture. And so once I didn't even know how I was so young. I didn't even know how to mail a letter, address a letter to where I could apply for the business. So my mother, she showed me how to address a letter, put the return address on there and all that. And anyway, once I received my Christmas card through the mail, I went out there door to door, believe it or not, wasn't afraid, and just started selling my Christmas cards. And from there, I just had the entrepreneurship bug, and as I got older, I became an electrician, so I work for 134. I'm here in Chicago. So I work for 134, Union 134. And even though I worked for them, I started my own business, going back to entrepreneurship on the side, being an electrician, and I have my business on the side. So anyway, I had other businesses in between, carpenter, upholstery, cleaning, and some other businesses as well. But now I'm retired from the electrical trade. So that's why I like the AI Summit, how you could use that to grow your business and how it could aid you in your businesses. So that was really great. That was really a timely thing,
Yeah.
So I
Good.
definitely want to educate myself on that.
Good.
I ain't going
Good.
to take up too much of you guys' time. Yeah, I just wanted to give a little story about myself.
Nah, we appreciate you showing up and sharing, brother. Yeah, so thank you. I mean, that's what this is for our community to talk and be heard, right? And kind of learn as we go. So I appreciate you
Yeah,
sharing.
no problem, no problem. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you too, guy, and everybody else. Nice to meet
Yeah,
you guys.
you as well, good brother. Hopefully grandma ain't got to pull your ear to get you to come back out.
I heard
Uh
you earlier when you said that, so I said, let me jump in.
yeah, they on the sidelines. They don't know grandma she gonna withhold that sweet potato pie. I'm trying to tell y'all. It's something special. So
Tell
I
grandma
appreciate.
I did participate.
Yeah, you good, brother. I think you're on the good list, man. You're gonna go get a
All
little
right,
something
great.
extra.
You take
Yeah.
care, buddy.
Take care, brother. Appreciate you.
Uh,
Um, yeah, but speaking along these lines, right? I want to invite y'all out to Tuesday to come and talk about the ultimate legacy building formula. We have these conversations centered around um our formula, right, for building our legacy out. We talk a lot about generational wealth, but we're extending that conversation with history and heritage as well. So we believe wealth plus heritage plus history equals legacy. And that's the conversation we're going to have Tuesday. So you come on out. You can I drop the link down there. You can sign up for that. And we'll talk about that and one of our membership programs, our Sanko for Legacy Builders program. So inside, we talk about a lot of this, the how to, the what to, right? The what to do, and then the how to do it as well. So we're doing a lot of that inside of that program. So come out Tuesday and check us out. I got Terry, then I got Charles.
Hi, Freddie.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. I think this is my fourth time.
All right, all right. Yeah, we're gonna have to start getting little badges or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, but what I wanted to say was when Brother Ron said that about the $2, well, he said that I don't know what he put in the bank, but we did $2 at Farmers and Mechanics here in Minnesota every Tuesday. That's how we started our savings. And then my mother had us get a job through, you know how you did neighborhood youth corps. And so at 13, we had a checking account. And I kept that checking account for 20 years. And then I'm part, like I said, I'm in Minnesota. There's legislation to have personal finance taught in high school as a graduation requirement.
Mm,
And I think that will really help students because they don't know how to handle credit.
yeah.
And once you get in debt and you don't know how to get out of it, then you that's your lifetime. And then lastly, my mother taught us to do safe investments, not risky ones. So where it's more guaranteed, so it's a lower return, but it's a more guaranteed return. So you're not losing money.
Right.
And thank you for all you do. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. I thank you for that acknowledgement. I'll pass that along to the team because y'all just see me behind the scenes. They do the work. I just be talking, y'all. That's about it. I get to, I'm on the fun end of the business. I get to hang out with y'all. I get to bring new information and people to y'all. It's all the cool stuff. But the team is really doing the work. So I definitely pass that along. No, but no, we appreciate it. I'm always facetious, but
Can I just add something to what Terry said,
yes.
Freddie? One of the major traps that our young adults get hooked into to ruin their credit is when they go off to college and when banks start offering these credit cards, and it makes life a little easier, you think, while you're in school to help mom and dad with the payments and your little upkeep, but you can get hooked in and ruin your credit to the point that when you come out of school, you're already, in trouble. Can't get nothing, can't get a 5-cent lollipop and won't nobody give you one. So
Yeah.
that's something we have to teach our children going off to college. Be careful of those traps.
Woo! I got the most expensive 2-liter sodas
Ooh.
and t-shirts ever that came free for signing up for those credit cards. Right?
Oh Lord have mercy. So
I
you
just
know
needed
what
the
I'm talking
soda.
about.
It was a hot summer, it's a hot day,
Ooh.
Oh man, that was expensive. Boy, you gave us nightmares with that one, Charlotte.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's everybody felt that one, boy. Woo!
Okay.
That was real. Brother Charles.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Yes, yes. Peace and blessings to everyone.
Peace and
Glad
blessings.
to stop in for a minute. Um, I put a statement out there that we should start thinking with whatever we invest in, we need to think first politically and then environmentally. What do I mean? Well, look at these companies that you want to invest in or whatever the investment is. Look at it politically. What has it done? What is it doing? For us primarily. When I say us, well, us obvious African descendants, Black folks. Secondly, environmentally. Now, you may not be a tree hugger. I'm not really a tree hugger myself, but we all live on this planet. It's in trouble. Well, it's not really in trouble. We are because of what we have allowed and what we have done to it. So we have to think in those two terms. Last thing I want to say is when I made the statement about going back to start thinking like it was segregation times, in those times, we had no one to depend on but ourselves. One or two of us might know a good white person, well-meaning or whatever, or some other type of person. Personally, I don't really believe in race, but I know I'm affected by it. I've grown up in it, so I can't escape it. But we have to think of unity. That's the only way we're going to get out. And if you look at what's going on over in Africa, primarily with the Sahel group, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, and some of the other African countries, and now they're taking on countries outside of Africa who are joining with them. We have to start thinking like that. We need to be paid for our worth, and we're worth much more than we generally think we are. That's all I want to say. Peace and blessings again.
Peace and blessings, brother. All right. Appreciate your input there. All right. Anybody else? You got any thoughts on, what you've heard, what you're thinking, any of the questions that I got out there floating? Again, my second question was, do you think you've ever made money decisions based on fear and not strategy? I know I can share. Oh, somebody coming in? You got something you want to share?
No, this is Ramona again. One thing I forgot to mention, my oldest daughter has her own business. She went to Jamaica High School, had a finance academy. Although she wanted to be a vet or a nurse, but she took it, thank goodness. So this is what's helping her now with her business. She used to go into banking and all that stuff. So that was helpful. The other thing is I've been in this house for 46 years. And so, they're like, well, what do you mean you want to go? What do you mean? And so it's all of those things that are like the foundation of nobody's going to give you anything. They know that. And you're not going to take, and I told them, you're not taking anything from anybody. And so that's the kind of mindset we have to have. I really, really, really wish that some of these young people would get that. It's a whole generation that's just being wasted because their goal or end goal is a day's worth of things. So that's all I wanted to say. But it is important that you understand that. Even though I work, she understands some stuff I didn't even do work. So that is good to have that foundation. And then having okay, all right, that's it.
All right. Yeah, somebody jumped on there. Okay, Ralph.
Yes. Hey, Freddie. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
You're
afternoon.
talking to the original Chicago entrepreneur. My brother and I were two of the first #1 shoe shine boys back in the early 50s. We grew up over on the west side in the projects, and we had to learn how to survive because my mama couldn't take care of all of the needs of her children. And unfortunately, the men that she was married to all turned out to be what you call po pimps. They didn't provide nothing but drama. So she had to put her boys to work. So we built our shoe shine boxes. We learned how to go out and shine shoes, walking the streets, riding the buses, doing everything necessary over on the west side to make money to bring home so we could pay utility bills and things like that. Uh, it was a adventurous life and fun lifestyle. Um, Fast forward, we delivered grocery, we carried pop bottles, we did everything, anything necessary that was positive to make money to keep out of jail because you only had two choices. You're going to grow up and go to jail or you go in the military. That was our choices growing up. So neither one of us or none of her sons graduated from high school because we had to work.
Mm.
However, we did become very intelligent, smart individuals that raised families and things like that, and were very successful at all of the ventures and things that we did. So, being a part, being having this as my background, as learning how to work, going to Midway Airport and so forth back in the day and being chased by the police. After getting chased by the police, run out the neighborhoods, then you get home with your little money. Now you got to run from the little boys in the neighborhood that know you've been out hustling and they want to take your money and rob you. So it was always a challenge. But the positive spin on that was um, went into the military. Um, None of us went to jail. We all went into the military, we all came out, became successful, got our GEDs and everything necessary in the military. We all bought our own businesses, we all bought our own homes, we all did everything necessary in order to be not live the life that we were surrounded by and grew up with. Uh, and Where do I want to go with this? I guess I want to go to the point where we actually, I was one of the original, um, what do you want to call it, street vendors, peddlers license in Chicago. I was one of the guys back in the 70s that went and got peddler's license, and we got so good at selling up at Wrigley Fields, Comiskey Park, Soldiers Field, and all of those things that the businesses and the business owner decided they want to cut into our business and take it away from us because they saw these little black guys coming up there making all that damn money in front of their stores. So it
Wow.
got to the point where we had to fight the city council for over 5 years in order to keep street vendors working in the city of Chicago legally. So as it turned out, fast forward, the businesses bought us out, paid the paid the city council off, bought us out, and we had to now leave our merchandise with them so that they can manage our inventory to keep up with how much money we were making. And at that point, I had a job. I always worked, never not had a job. I decided I need to go back to work in the context of I'm going to work my job. I'm going to leave the street. I'm not going to let these guys gangster me. But my sons and my nephews and all of the street vendors you see out there, they're still out there now. And that's been over 55 years that we've been doing this, or when I started it. Uh, as far as today, investing that money, the fear, I live with it every day, investing in the market and doing various things to try and grow legacy wealth for the family, the generations to come, and so forth and everything. And I try and teach as much as I can to whoever want to listen regarding saving, doing the best things you can in order to never be broke and have to go ask nobody for no damn money that you can go get yourself if you're able body and sound mind. And I could go on, but I'm get us back to you. And I didn't speak last week when we were discussing the traumas of some of the lives, but we went through the trauma of being in our house back in 1962 or 63 when the police raided our house and took our stepdaddy out and arrested him on murder charges and so forth that he was accused of. And we wound up getting a lawyer, fortunately, to take the case and wound up at the Supreme Court, where they actually put in the law that the police couldn't come into your house without a search warrant. And that law stayed into effect for 60 years in the United States. So it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. That was last week's story. And I had my hand up toward the end and it didn't get called. So I thought I'd throw that in right now. And I'm gonna let you guys go. And you see me on a lot of the stuff going on all the time, bro. So you keep it up and family, y'all stay positive and I'm gonna continue to do what I'm doing because it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, good brother. Appreciate you sharing your story. Yeah, somebody put that in the comments too. That's good. That's good. That's why it's always good to hear from the community, right? Like we have so much untapped potential. I like to say sitting in the audience, right? Like I think there's so much value or sitting in the community, right? There's so much value on your side of the camera or your side of the screen. Sometimes, you just need a microphone. Somebody just needs to hear these stories because somebody's being inspired today, right? So these are very, very good stories and very good reminders as well. William, how you doing, good sir?
Doing very well. I've been very blessed to come up in an entrepreneurial family. And one of my comments earlier was that my aunt told me at age 5, liquor is for selling, not for drinking. So I've never been a
That's
drinker. Okay. Uh, in my hometown in 1950, they voted out liquor. So my uncle and aunt had to double the price and pay the police chief more than he made from the city, you know, to not be raided.
right.
So I grew up with that. But my dad was a home builder. So we built about 60% of the black folks' homes in the Muscle Shoals area of Alabama.
Wow.
So that was good. But my dad saw that I didn't have a propensity for construction. So I ended up going to college and majoring in architectural engineering. And the best two things I engineered was my kids. Both my kids graduated from Harvard grad school. Now,
Nice.
the big number one secret is you got to beat them every 2 weeks, whether they need it or not, mentally. Don't do physical. I don't want to see nobody on TV. All right. But the bottom line is education to me is our number one way forward. But not only education, but teaching good common sense. So it's education plus advice. Okay. Education plus street knowledge. It's helping our kids understand that nothing is new in the world. Everything has already happened at least once. And if we can get them to just not be too proud and accept our history, accept our greatness, and research and know and move forward. To me, that's what's going to take us forward.
Mhm.
So I want to end with that.
I love it. I love it. Was this your first time Sunday
No,
dinner?
this is my 7th time.
Seventh time. All right. All right. Yeah, we gotta let the people know. All right. I appreciate you, good brother.
Oh, yeah. And my granddaughter just graduated Brown University last May
I love it.
with all A's.
Come on with it.
Our first Phi Beta Kappa in a double major.
I love it. Look, you making me think like we should have like a I don't know, almost like a graduation session, whatever that Sunday is, right? So everybody can we can speak to our young people and the great things that they're doing, right? I know the
Yes.
family is very proud, right? So
Right. Well, she led restarting the AKA chapter at Brown University.
wow. Wow, look, and it continues, right? See, we're gonna need a whole show.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you, good brother. Appreciate you sharing.
All right.
Uh, and I love that. My brother said he didn't have a propensity for um,
Carpentry.
construction, right? But dad was like, but he's a thinker though. So right.
There you go.
Yeah, all right. And he understands the business. I love that. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. Anybody else got any thoughts on do you think you've ever made a money decision based upon fear? Here's a third question. Have you ever avoided looking at your bank account, opening a bill, or talking about money? Let me drop that one in there. For those of you that might be looking at the clock, we ain't updated the time. I'm usually somewhere between 2 and 3 hours on our Sundays, by the way. So it's all right. Grandma's got y'all marked. If you came, right? If you have to go, that's fine. But we could the cousins gonna stick around. We're gonna stick around and have some more conversation. But so have you ever avoided looking at your bank account and opening a bill or talking about money? And I can stack that personally with do you think you've ever made a money decision based upon fear? Like I grew up thinking money, you don't supposed to owe nobody nothing. Like, don't owe nobody nothing. Just pay off all your bills. Don't go into debt. Pay everything off and operate like that outside of the house, right? Um, and that was especially after I got burned, with the college, taking on the college credit card debts and stuff like that. I think like that fear of debt just really like grew in me. And I know in the business, man, shoot, ever since I've always been an entrepreneur, y'all. I've only had two jobs. I had one in high school, one in college. And one one money fear that just been prevalent, like when I look throughout my entrepreneurial history, is that fear of taking money, of taking out loans and like investing that way into the company. And like I've never done that. I've been operating my business on cash the entire time. And Urban Intellectuals, we're 9 years into Urban Intellectuals, right? And December will be our 10th year in business. And I've done it primarily with cash, right? Like the way majority of those years, it's only into the last couple of years that I've started getting into using debt, which was like, I still ain't there. I ain't there where I need to be. And that's probably why we haven't really leveraged that to catapult Urban Intellectuals like we really desire. But I got mindset issues about it too, right? So we all in this together. This is like financial therapy, right? Um, we were just talking Friday. We were just talking Friday with Crystal about fitness, right? So generational health, that was like kind of our discussion there. Y'all see, we'll drop that discussion on the YouTube channel and on our podcast whenever I let this, whenever we get to releasing these interviews. But it was almost like we were having like it was like health therapy, right? The conversation. You just find out that we got like a lot of mindset issues and assumptions and you know uh stuff, trauma that's just been passed on to us from our families and around health. It's like real similar to money, finance, and wealth, right? Like we just got these unspoken norms or whatever that kind of seep into us. It's really interesting. So I'm still trying to dig through some of mine. I know like I had the brother said he had me beat. My lowest credit score that I remember was a 510, right? And I remember I remember getting laughed out of Chase Bank. The wife and I was going into Chase to get our first loan for a house. This was like 2004 or 5. And like, man, I swear, like how we remember the story is that woman giggled and basically was like, y'all ain't getting no loan, right? And it was like, man, but we financially, it was in shambles, right? But I remember getting that together. We bought the house the following year, and continued to build and grow from there. Still had like some stumbles and all types of crazy stuff. But I like brother said, like I'm in the 800 club now on the credit, right? Like, um, and I ain't going back, right? Like, there's a lot of opportunity on this side, right? Which, like, in the mentor and the business circles that I'm in, they're like, bro, if you got an 800 plus credit score, and you got a business that operates at this level, you really should be leveraging bank relationships and lending. But it goes back to somebody mentioned it in the call, banks don't lend to people that need money.
Nope.
You know, by the time, and this was the mentor. This is the thing, y'all. Like, I pay for mentorship, right? I pay for coaching. I think you got to invest in your future, but you got to listen to folks, right? If you pay folks, you got to listen to them, right? You got to at least try it. I'm notorious for paying for something and taking in the information and not acting on it, right? So, like, looking back, all of them were telling me, "Hey, you should start establishing relationships with your bank and taking out loans while the business is doing very, very well." And that never made sense to me. And I was like, I don't understand why I would want to expose myself. Why? Like, it don't make no sense. But now I get it. Because had I started those relationships 5, 6, 7 years ago, like, where would we be now? What would I have access to now? What type of capital? Did you know? Like, okay, so like, all right, yeah, for sharing, yeah, no, that's what's up. Um, but did you know, like, as a business owner, or did you know? Put it this way: did you know you could invest into the stock market as a business? So you can get an LLC, a formal corporation, and start investing in the stock market as a business, right? And I'm just putting this together because I've just put this together, right? Like, so inside the Legacy Builders program, like I said, we're talking about stock market investing, right? And we had one of the experts come and lace us with some investing game, right? And in the conversation, he made mention that yes, your business can invest in the stock market, or you can open an account as a business and start investing. Either way, what I want you to do is put together, if I would have started the bank relationship 5, 6, 7 years ago, what type of capital could I have access to that I could have took out in a loan? And then y'all know what just happened in the market, right? It just went on, it had a flash sale. So this is like what we're upset about. I see a lot of the conversations is, well, Trump just drove down the stock market so he could buy it, him and his friends could buy it, and then they drove it back up. We could have played the same game. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying if something is unfolded in front of you, there are opportunities for you to get to ride the wave, right? Now, personally, I purchased when the market flashed and dropped, right? And I knew what things to look at in order to do that. And I followed the brother's system that we had come and speak inside of our Sankofa Legacy program. But that's why I knew when to buy. But I just didn't have no real cash capital. So imagine if the company had a division that was investing the stored capital in the business and making sure that it works and stay above inflation and tarifflation, whatever. I don't know. But taking idle money in the business and investing it for growth, like we could have made those plays. There are people who were watching that and then took money out of their life insurance policies, took a loan from those policies, and purchased stock options at particular times, right? Caught the bounce, sold the difference, put their money back in the insurance policy, and pocketed the balance, right? But these things are happening every day. but we're not in rooms and conversations that are doing these things, right? And like we gotta tax the rich. You gotta tax them. And they always laugh. And they laugh because they don't make money like you and I make money. They drive up the value of an asset, then they take a loan out against it. You can't tax a loan. So and now unless people are gonna restructure, pay taxes based on the value, just like I heard that. If you can take a loan out based on this quote unquote fictional value, then you should be able to tax them on this value. I don't know. All I do know is you're gonna need a lot of votes from people in the Senate and the House, and then the courts, and you're gonna need a lot of something to pass. And all of those are rich people that are benefiting from this thing. So I don't know realistically, how do you get it passed? And like, please don't moralize with me, because this country has been everything but moral, right? So that doesn't apply at all in like the reality. I'm sorry, I went like on a tangent, but like I just got to thinking about all of this, right? And like knowing like we need this information. This is stuff that and believe it or not, I ain't said nothing, right? Like that was just like a slither of like a lot of deeper conversations, but I am immersing myself in this stuff, and it's fun. Um, it's fun. And I hear the echoes, and I echo the same thing. Somebody said, I wish I'd have known this stuff 50 years ago. Man, I wish I'd have known this stuff 20 years ago. I know that at least 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Um, so I get that. So I think that's why it's important that we start to create rooms like this, to start having conversations like this, because they're being had, right? But we're just not putting ourselves into them. Yeah, I believe we got to start putting ourselves in better situations to learn and hear better pieces of financial knowledge and insight, right? Yes, that's why I joined, to learn more along the way. Yeah, Cynthia. Yeah, we're definitely gonna share on. I've been talking, I ain't been paying attention. It's never too late to start. These contradictions in the markets are just the beginning. Yeah, dollar cost average over time. Yeah, definitely got to have an investment philosophy, and all that good stuff, right? Deborah, come on into the discussion. Right, yeah, let me open it back up. I got fired up and got to running my mouth.
Let me share.
There you go.
Let's see. I did make a few financial mistakes, and that one of them was with credit cards, getting into college or wherever, and just running up the credit cards. And then the other thing was, when you're younger, uh, someone opens up an account in your name. You're a minor, and sometimes in the black family we do that to get more credit or whatever. And so I got a car, and when I moved out on my own with my daughter, I was divorced. I bought a car because I was in like the suburb. I didn't know where I was. I didn't realize the location, so my mother said I needed a good car. So I bought a brand new car, but I think my daughter was like 16 or 17 maybe, and she co-signed on it. And so I ended up getting a new car, and I had a used car that the dealer let me keep. So I gave my car to my daughter, the used car to my daughter, so we both had cars. But the problem was that when I defaulted on when I got backed up on paying the bills because the car was so expensive. I think, my mother used to say, don't go to a car dealer with a man. Don't go with women, because they'll take advantage of you. So, because men generally maybe might know more about cars and stuff like that. So when I got a really high car note, and so I struggled to pay that off, and then when I would fall back on it, because my daughter's credit was she was 16, her credit was tied up to mine. So it was my credit score lowered, hers did too. So I ended up messing up her credit, and she was, just starting out in life. So finally this year, I was able to pay off my car because I had to rebuy the car, and it was just a mess. It was a really mess. And my ex-husband helped me pay off the loan. She was able to get her own car and get off of that co-signing thing. So the other thing is, and I don't know if that happens in other families, but the other thing is, on a more positive note, my grandpa, Alfonso Irving, had 12 children, and he was able to get the first contract in a cleaning company with JFK, the JFK Library in Boston, over there near Harbor Point, Massachusetts. So one of the things he did as a business owner, the cleaning company, he would hire everybody. He would hire the family, all the friends, siblings, everybody would. That's how he made it. Everybody would get a job and work. So, and for moving forward, everybody in the family, when someone got a family, it's the same thing. They say nepotism is a bad word, but when we use it, it's a bad word. But white folks use it, it's not a bad word. So someone get a good job, they help the other person get in to get a good job, and so on and so forth. That's my little sermon for today.
I love it. I love it.
So
No, I love it. I love it. We need a sermon, right? We need a sermon every day, every Sunday. We got to have a
yeah,
few of
you
those.
gotta have, yeah, good. There's
Um,
good and the bad. What you learn as you grow. And like you say, when you say, did you ever do anything out of fear? I think that was out of fear that I had to get the car, I had to get it right away, and I had to get a reliable car. And it did help me. My daughter now, she got a master's degree. She lives in California. She got a good job and everything. But it was a hard journey. A lot of lessons I learned.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I saw someone commenting to this question. Have you ever avoided looking at your bank account, opening a bill, or talking about money? I saw GP saying that he got some bills, he got some mail on the counter, on the sofa. He don't want to open right now. I can tell you, all right, so like my money related stories are now, fortunately or unfortunately, mainly centered around the business, right? But it's the same thing, right? Like if you, it's the same thing, right? That's what I'm learning. Um, but in the business, yeah, really, yeah. I mean, for a while, I went through a period of not wanting to look at the mail, not wanting to look at really the numbers and all of that stuff. And I can say, I can say, it's literally cost us like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Now it sounds like a lot. I know it does, right? But the business like sucks up a lot of money, y'all. Like there's a lot of moving parts and it spends a lot of money, y'all. But I know like my negligence of not really being thorough with the numbers over the years has really cost a significant amount of money. And let me tell you, that money didn't land in my pocket. I really wish it would have. That would have softened the blow at least. But um, man, it's a bad thing when you're not looking at the numbers. And I can tell you, like, we've had bookkeeping and accounting, the entire time, but I never invested in like upper echelon, CPAs, attorneys, and tax strategists. I've never really invested in that in the business. And I did, man, just a few months ago, like maybe February. Yeah, it's always a lot going on. We had went to Disney for a leadership training, and like going into that, I like it was like, man, we really got to get a hold of these books and really start to understand. Anyway, I invested. It cost way more money than I want to pay, but it has really been amazing, right? We're getting the financial clarity that we need in order to make good decisions. I've been there and been a victim of that too. Yeah, I mean it's wild, man. It's wild. We stayed in things and took out like predatory loans, all because I didn't want to go a traditional route. It's just been a mess. Last year was like the roughest year in business that we had or that I've had, right? Probably not the roughest, right? I mean, it was financially rough, right? Like, just not enough money went into my pocket, right? That's what make it rough. But I hesitate because I remember like being young and having a young family as an entrepreneur and, needing to make money because the children needed to eat. It wasn't that type of rough year, y'all, right? If you was following urban intellectuals, I was traveling all over the world, right? Like going all these African trips and like all of that. So when I say rough, right, I want to adjust that a bit, right? Because that was like rough when the family needed to eat, right? And like we wasn't making the numbers. That was like a different life. But not looking at the numbers, even though like we've been pretty successful as a company, is like hindered us and held us back, right? But I'm like reformed from all of that now. Like it ain't a piece of mail unopened. So I'm opening mail immediately when it comes in, and we're taking care of the business that needs to be done. The good news is once you get on top of everything, you can stay there, right? But you definitely got to run into the storm, whatever it is that you're avoiding, that success is probably on the other side of that. That's probably where it is. DeWanda, come on into the discussion.
So, two of my biggest fears is investing. I'm not a really risky investor. The investments have taken risk on. I made some bad decisions, so now I'm a little afraid of investing. I will get back out there, of course, but it's really taking me some time to do that. And another fear of mine is not having a security blanket or safety net in place. Safe. I remember 95, my phone got cut off, and I asked family members, well, two family members, if they could loan me the money to, pay my phone bill. Now, this is in 1995. From that point on, they didn't have the money to loan me. But from that point on, I vowed I would never not have a safety net in place, especially when you have children.
Yeah.
That's what I want to share.
Oh, I love that. When you say safety net, what do you mean by that?
Safety net meaning they always say you should have 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. Well, I take it a little further than that. I say 12 months to 24 months. Just a little cushion because things are so expensive with mortgage, rent, car, maintenance, repairs, on the car, maintenance, repairs of the home. So that little 3 to 6 months could be eaten up really quick.
I love that. So I just got a whole bunch of questions for you. Because I'm trying to hear this through the lens of our audience, right? So our, you know, our financial situation is, stretched, right? Like we pretty much accounting for just about every dollar. How do you get to a point where I can start to store 3 months, 6 months, 12 months um, of my living expenses? Like what's insight there?
So for me,
Yeah, I'm about to say, well, how did you do it? Here we go.
Okay, so I purchased, I say, 3 homes in my lifetime, and in 2008 during that recession, market crash, whatever you want to call it, I kind of lost out. That was an investment for me. When I buy homes, it's an investment because I was looking to pay my daughter's college tuition with that money, and I just made a really bad decision when it came to, that situation. So I bought a third home, and what I did, I sold it because, it's not my forever home. I look at it as an investment that I can get out of it in about 5 or 10 years and make a profit. So the last home that I did sell, I haven't touched that money since. And it's been what, 5 years? So, and I try to keep building on that. So I keep telling myself, okay, this is what you need to save each month, a big chunk of money, if you can. Certain things I have done is cut a lot of unnecessary spending. Well, shopping, I haven't. I'm really trying not to try to cut back on that, but trying to cut my expenses where I can. Because now I'm in the process of, well, wanting to buy land, wanting to do some other type of investment. So I guess I have that goal in mind. So now I'm just steadily trying to save and build on the money that I saved when I sold my last home.
Okay, I love that. Sister say she got a plan. She had a plan. She had a plan to accumulate her money, her cash to send the daughter to school, and using that to have 10 to 12 months of secure 12 to 24 months. I love that. And then a whole lot of cutting, right? How many of y'all can be honest and admit each month you buying a lot of stuff you don't need?
Could I expound?
Come on it. Come on with it, brother.
How's everybody doing, family?
Great. How you doing?
Great.
I kind of rest my apple because I was in Buffalo Wild Wings, but I was still listening. But I couldn't chime in to say something because there was a lot of New York Knicks noise and and things like that. But this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. By me being in the state of Connecticut, ex-offender, prison number 86853, and in the state of Michigan, prison number 205172. My financial vision was tarnished because of fast money making. I never respected, let alone the value of a dollar. I never respected the value of a penny. Because coming up in the village, in the project, in the hood, speaking for me, okay, there was a mother, a grandmother, and a stepfather in the home. Okay, the mother and the stepfather worked. The grandmother played numbers, and she hit on a regular. So money wasn't a problem per se as the household developed. But for me coming up and then ended up going to the left, I became a teenage father. And I was very athletic, and I had a scholarship to a Division I school. Okay, but because of the old values of the household, if you make it, you take care of it. And so I couldn't go to Tennessee. So I had to stay local and help take care of the child. All right. My skill set as far as employment, okay, wasn't there. Okay, so I fill out an application in the streets. And so many of us who fill out street applications, the hiring is 95 to 100% pretty much. And so that right there took me off a path of positivity, a path of structure, a path of respect, a path of caring, a path of not respecting finances and not respecting financial concepts as it pertains to structure, as it pertains to me having a son, generational wealth, as it pertains to me seeking out personal insurance for myself. So I went completely to the left. But unfortunately, I was very violent also. Okay, so I'm not just speaking for me, I'm speaking for a big population that sometimes aren't on programs like this. And so like I said, I've done time, and now I'm a national financial literacy instructor. Because I got out, I changed my paradigm, and every Monday, I do a group with ex-offenders, those in recovery, those who have no financial respect and less respect, unfortunately, for their self, let alone finances, because they've given up. And I'm in the process of creating a book for them. And the first 2 chapters is dealing with healing and financial psychology, because there's a number of different concepts that these men and women need to learn and hear on a regular basis, because they're dealing with those of us who've been through certain negativity down that road. We're dealing with other stress levels, and financial respect isn't high on our list, especially with fathers who are paying child support and can't find a proper job. So we're behind the 8 ball, and we never have a chance to catch up. Because if we having sons and daughters out there, that's at least an 18-year sentence when it comes down to child support. And not talking about our individual needs, not talking about if we got more than one kid with multiple moms, not counting about the psychological trauma that we have to deal with the baby mama drama, So there's a whole audience, an untapped audience that needs to hear from you, brothers and sisters. I'm listening to, I'm at a place where, I listen and I see who's speaking and things like that. And I've even invested in the summit, the AI summit. And in that one little module, I've learned so much because I have my own nonprofit organization. Okay, because when I got out of prison, I wanted to work with youth. I wanted to work in the board of ed. I wanted to work in the school system. But because of my criminal record, superintendent told me that he couldn't hire me, even though so many teachers were scared of the population that I wanted to work with. But I didn't give up because I was on a mission. So I told him, okay, I'll be right back. So I went out and got me a board of directors. I went out and created me some bylaws. I went out and got the Robert Rules of Order, and I created my own nonprofit organization, and I went back to him. So now you can contract me instead of hiring me because I got my own insurance. And that's what it boils down to, insurance. That's why they couldn't hire me, because I'm a liability. But if I got my own insurance, that takes the liability off of them. And so that's where I'm at now with putting my book together and mastering AI. So AI can help me put grants together, because I'm not a local, I'm a national financial literacy instructor with a story for a certain population. Okay, because I've unfortunately, I've been to prison for taking a life through gun violence, and I got a son who also did time for taking a life through gun violence. And unfortunately, we took a life through gun violence on the same street in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's not something that a father wants to be able to talk to his son about. I'm a police shooting survivor, so there's a population that I need to specifically deal with. That's why I deal with those men and women who've been incarcerated, because I once was them, and my story can resonate with them, because it's all about trust. It's all about dealing with the trauma the post-incarceration trauma that they deal with. So they need to hear with somebody who's on their level. And that's why God opened up that gate to get me out of prison, because he had work for me to do out here. And that's all I'm going to do, because I owe a debt. But like I said, Freddie, man, you know what? You just don't know the jewels that come to me. This is my third time, all right, being on here live. But years ago, I've ordered that whole the deck of cards that you got.
Mm-hmm.
I've ordered that whole thing. And Black History Month, and this is 2025, Black History Month in 2021, I believe. No, I'm sorry. 2018, I ordered all those cards. I used to take pictures of those cards and send them out to my to my people for Black History Month. And then I extended it because Black History Month is actually 365 days, doggone it, not 28 days.
Right.
And the cards that you got transcend 365 days. You know, so with this financial healing thing, brother, you know, we can't get enough of it, because we not only are we what we repeatedly do, we are what we repeatedly hear. So keep it coming, brother.
I love that. I love that. We are what we repeatedly hear. That's definitely the truth. That's definitely true. Good stuff there. They loving you in the comments. Of course, brother, for the work that you're doing. Definitely stay connected and continue to do that work. We appreciate you. Definitely being a long time customer and hanging out here with us at Sunday dinner. I dropped a couple of more questions in there for y'all. We're moving into our final hour. All right, I gotta set limits with some of y'all. All right. I'm being the main one though. But yes, I got some more good questions for y'all, or conversations that we can have. Number 4 is, can therapy and budgeting go hand in hand? Have you tried either? 5 is, what belief about money are you trying to unlearn? And then 6, what's one small financial win that made you feel proud? So I'm gonna drop them all down again. Come on to the mic, good people. Join in the conversation. Don't make me just be the only one out here telling all my financial business. No, there's some good ones here. I was trying to think of a financial win.
Ready?
Yes.
My biggest financial win was finally due diligence and sitting down and understanding how this money business works. My financial win was raising my FICO score to 810.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, that didn't come overnight, all right, because like I alluded to earlier, I had a 350 FICO score. I wouldn't even dare walk into no bank and ask them for a dime, because at least I had that enough intelligence to know, don't do that to yourself. But once again, for anything that you're about to do, I don't care what topic it is, what subject it is, you must do your due diligence. With the internet at everybody's fingertips today, there is no rhyme or reason why you can come up with a sentence like, I didn't know, or I don't know. Crackheads on the street got a phone. Do you hear me? I'm walking the streets of Harlem. These people bent over, stooped down, and the phone rings. He or she goes into their pocket and pull out a cell phone. So once again, there's no reason for us to remain ignorant anymore, because the internet is there for us. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. The internet is definitely there for it. The crackheads got the phones, man. I didn't see that story going there. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna hear around grandma's table, y'all. Hey, I love it. Brother Ralph.
Yeah, my first financial pride was that I can speak of was buying my first house at the age of 26. I was so proud of that after coming out of the service and using that GI Bill. I took advantage of everything that I could get for performing in the military for the 3 years that I did. But it became the family house for my brothers, my sisters, all of their kids, and everything. And to this day, whenever I'm talking to nieces and nephews or they communicate with me or something, they always talk about the pride and joy that they felt coming out to the suburbs. It was Harvey when Harvey was still 80% white, just so you know, and having a big, beautiful brick 4-bedroom house. And they would come out and bring the kids, and we would have our social gatherings out in the Forest Preserve or in the park, I should say, as well as at home. And we raised our kids together, you know. And when it was Bud Billiken time, we would go to my brother's house over on 45th and King and watch the Bud Billiken and barbecue and do all of that fun stuff. And that's for us Chicago people; they understand that. But that was a sense of pride, and I've never rented ever since, and I've never been unemployed because I always maintain, as I mentioned before, employment and backup employment and backup business and backup business to that business. And I'm not rich. I just share everything that I've ever done with others.
Mm.
That was my positive contribution. And I continue to do it. And as a matter of fact, in 2 weeks, I'll be taking my son and my grandson, which is his son, and we're going to have a financial literacy legacy summit together. So we can have some one on one with sharing what I know and what they've learned and what they want to learn. And we're going to all do this together. And I'm in the trading school right now, learning everything I can about commodities, futures, and all of that stuff because I got nothing but time on my hand. And I used to take all of those brokers from the suburbs on my trains when I was working downtown to the Board of Trade and Merchandise Market and all of that back in the day. And when the brother, they were loving me, you know, I was a good worker, but when it came time to share some knowledge about, well, let me teach me some about making an investment and things like that. They want to talk about the bulls. They want to talk about girls. They want to talk about the music. They want to talk about everything, but giving me some of that financial knowledge.
Mm.
You know, they were experts at that game, just like I was an expert at trying to get this knowledge. And my little co-workers, the white boys, they would always get tips and everything from these folks. And it's like, you know what? This is some bullshit, you know, BS. But I'm gonna keep on doing what I do because I do what I do very well for me and it works for us. So I let it go. But I have an opportunity now with all this free time, you know, and I'm damn near 80, and I'm in school now, learning how to do the things that they wouldn't teach me, just so I could say before I died that I learned that stuff on
Mm.
my own without them. So that's all I wanted to pass on.
I love it, but no, and then even bigger than that. I mean, I love that. I love that for you. You set that goal, let's knock it out. But you're sharing it with your son and your grandson, right? So they're gonna
All
have
my
it.
all my family, I share with my nieces, nephews. Anybody want to know something that I know? It's always been free. You
Pass
ain't
it
got to
on, bro.
beg or try and get nothing from me. It's here for you. It's here. It's free. You know, if I learned that, just verify what I teach you. or what I share with you. Just verify, because I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, come back and let me know that I was wrong so that I
Yeah,
can
yeah, get me
improve
right.
my knowledge. And that's coming from an 8th grade education,
I said, get me
you
right,
know,
huh?
academically speaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you say your family is receiving the invitation? Like, are they anybody taking you up on it?
Oh, absolutely. They all own their own places. The ones that wanted something,
Mhm.
they all got their own business. Every one of them got a business. They also all have a professional career. Yeah, they follow in the footsteps.
Okay.
You know, they learned. They all had to learn how to work. They learned how to work those streets just right alongside of me. When we go out to the park to go sell them balloons and peanuts and water and all of those glow sticks and all of that stuff, they were right there on side of me. You make your money, I'm making my money. After you learn how to make your money, it's all yours. I'll front you to get you started. After you get started and you understand the game and you respect the rules is you don't step on nobody's toes that's out here doing the same thing. Your
Mhm.
people especially. You know, it's enough out here in this world for all of us to make money. You just go and do yours, and then you build and you grow and you save. And as far as trying to impress anybody, never. I drive the car that's going to give me the most mileage at the cheapest amount of money I can afford. That's going to be new. And I'm going to always have me warranty so that I don't have to worry about that crap of dealing with these folks out here in the street jacking me because I don't have mechanical knowledge. Mm-mm. Or going out here buying me some Jordans. Hell no. Shoot, I won't. I grew up with holes in my shoes with cardboard and everything. Going out here shining people's shoes so I can get me a pair of Brogans. Come on. I ain't trying to impress nobody. Yeah, never have. That's all. So they've adopted those values. You
I
know.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What was,
So I just that's what I share with them. Yeah.
yeah, what was that
And
question? What was your question, Freddie?
Oh man, I think I asked a few of them. Hey, thank you, brother Ralph. Appreciate you.
About
Uh,
about
question.
about a financial success.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. What's one financial win you've had that made you feel proud?
Well, it was bittersweet. 'Cause I got out of prison and over the course of time, working and getting them W-2s in order and building some a financial track record. Okay, but at the same time, home ownership wasn't on my agenda. Okay, because that bar for me wasn't never set that high because I was so far in the streets and gone and I could have bought houses and paid cash, but my mindset was so distorted. Okay, that I never really embraced those concepts because I never knew how long I was going to live living in that fast life. Because so many of my soldiers before me, life was taken, some in front of me, some unfortunately because of me. So my future wasn't home ownership. So that right there, that ceiling was never on my agenda because just like so many of our youth today, they wear their best friend's picture, rest in peace. So many of them are expecting for their face to be on a rest in peace T-shirt. So their future of reaching 30, 40, 50, it's not there because their best friend's future was taken behind some of the mannerisms that they're doing now. So they don't see a future. Okay, so when you come up in the streets, whatever age you are, and death is around you, you just embrace that. So when it's your turn. So I never thought about home ownership, but once I went to prison and I transformed and my higher power became my authority, my mentor, my authoritative figure. And I started doing various Bible studies. So that right there put me on the path. And the reinforcement came in when the warden used to ask me to speak to youth coming into the prison. So that right there opened up the door for my future once I got out. So now I can see some things. And then when I got out, like I said, it was bittersweet. My mom's, fast forwarding, my mom, she stayed with her roommate, her male roommate, and she became close friends with a Jamaican mother that owned two houses, the house where she stayed and the house that, her and her family lived in. Okay. And my mother, she became diabetic and I was working. Okay. And then my mother passed. And when I left the hospital, I went right into her bedroom. And so the lady who owned the house wanted me to have the house because her and my mother was that close. But I'm not thinking home ownership. I don't know the first thing about home ownership. And I'm in my 40s, so I don't know the first thing about home ownership. But she said, you're going to have this house. And don't worry about nothing because her sons knew realtors and things like that. So they walked me through the process. And this was 20 years ago. And I own that home today. It's a 2-family house. And I'm still hustling, okay, because my mortgage is like $1,500 a month. I rent rooms on the first floor. So therefore, my first floor hustle is paying my mortgage. So the game don't stop. It just changes. It just changes. I'm still hustling, but I'm hustling the right way now. And this is something that I'm passing down to my grandson, and because I'm 70 years old. So I'm trying to put something in place for him to manage, So I'm between a rock and a hard place of selling the house or leaving the house. But if you got property, that's the last thing you should want to do is sell the house. So most likely I'm going to leave him with the house and make it whereas the bills are paid and things like that. Because I'm collecting Social Security right now as well as running my nonprofit. But that was my success. That was my success story. I mean, my mother passed in 2000, and I still have some of her things in the house, some of her spices, some of her keepsakes. They're still in the house. So that's another reason why selling that house. I don't think so. But that was my thing, being able to accomplish home ownership, where it was the last thing on my mind. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no, good conversation. Good thoughts there too. Appreciate you sharing all of that. It made me think of a whole lot, actually. Um, but one, like, buying the real estate and not wanting to sell it and, really understanding maintaining assets, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
controlling assets that grow in value over time. And then here we go again with this idea of borrowing against the asset, right? So you don't have to necessarily sell the house to get some value out of it. I wouldn't just borrow to go buy some Louis bags, right? Nothing like that. I
Yeah,
would borrow to buy other assets.
yeah,
But you wanna like just the concept of understanding that you want to own assets because they not just because they grow over time, but assets are a hedge against the government printing money. Like what's going on? Like I think there's something like you know, there's a crisis going on. The economy is crazy. The inflation is rising. All of this is happening. And like in the background of all of this, America's debt needs to be refinanced, right? That's a conversation. I think we're up to 34, 5, $6 trillion, right?
And
Um, as old, somebody dropped that debt calculator link down there. But they're talking about, these tax cuts that he's promised, blah, 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 another $4 to $7 trillion, blah, blah, blah. They're going to end up printing money, right? This is kind of generally what happens. But when money gets printed, there's more in the supply, and then the value of stuff goes up. But if you don't own any stuff that goes up, meaning real assets, not Jordans, right? Not belt buckles and bags and stuff like that. All of that stuff goes up in value as well. So it's kind of like a hedge against all of this, but everything is rigged for people who own assets, right? It's whatever we can discuss which class you should be in. Should you be in stocks? Should you be in land? Should you be in property? Should you be in precious metals? Should you be in crypto? Like your asset class, that's another conversation. But the being in something that has value is where your money should be or where your investment should be. I want to play something. This is a guy named Ray Dalio, right? So this is like almost a 5-minute video. Just take a listen to this. He's talking about the changing world order and kind of what's happening. This is, I don't know, if y'all hang around, my brain like think differently. Like I make like connections a different way, but like it's something in here I want you to see that's kind of tied to what I was talking about. Let's just check this out. There we go.
I studied the 10 most powerful empires over the last 500 years and the last 3 reserve currencies. It took me through the rise and decline of the Dutch Empire and the guilder, the British Empire and the pound, the rise and early decline in the United States Empire and the dollar, and the decline and rise of the Chinese Empire and its currencies, as well as the rise and decline of the Spanish, German, French, Indian, Japanese, Russian, and Ottoman empires, along with their significant conflicts, as measured in this chart. To understand China's patterns better, I also studied the rise and fall of Chinese dynasties and their monies back to the year 600. Because looking at all these measures at once can be confusing, I'll focus on the 4 most important ones: the Dutch, British, US, and Chinese. You'll quickly notice the changing world order. Now let's simplify the form a bit. As you can see, they transpired in overlapping cycles that lasted about 250 years, with 10 to 20-year transition periods between them. Typically, these transitions have been periods of great conflict because leading powers don't decline without a fight. So how am I measuring an empire's power? In this study, I used 8 metrics. Each country's measure of total power is derived by averaging them together. They are education, inventiveness and technology development, competitiveness in global markets, economic output, share of world trade, military strength, the power of their financial center for capital markets, and the strength of their currency as a reserve currency. Because these powers are measurable, we can see how strong each country is now, was in the past, and whether they're rising or declining. By examining the sequences from many countries, we can see how a typical cycle transpires. And because the wiggles can be confusing, we can simplify it a bit to focus on the pattern of cause-effect relationships that drive the rise and decline of a typical empire. As you can see, better education typically leads to increased innovation and technology development, and with a lag, the establishment of the currency as a reserve currency. You can also see that these forces then declined in a similar order, reinforcing each other's decline. Let's now look at the typical sequence of events going on inside a country that produces these rises and declines. In a nutshell, the big cycle typically begins after a major conflict, often a war, establishes the new leading power and the new world order. Because no one wants to challenge this power, a period of peace and prosperity typically follows. As people get used to this peace and prosperity, they increasingly bet on it continuing. They borrow money to do that, which eventually leads to a financial bubble. The empire's share of trade grows, and when most transactions are conducted in its currency, it becomes a reserve currency, which leads to even more borrowing. At the same time, this increased prosperity distributes wealth unevenly, so the wealth gap typically grows between the rich haves and the poor have-nots. Eventually, the financial bubble bursts, which leads to the printing of money and increased internal conflict between the rich and the poor, which leads to some form of revolution to redistribute wealth. This can happen peacefully or as a civil war. While the empire struggles with this internal conflict, its power diminishes relative to external rival powers on the rise. When a new rising power gets strong enough to compete with the dominant power that is having domestic breakdowns, external conflicts, most typically wars, take place. Out of these internal and external wars come new winners and losers. Then the winners get together to create the new world order, and the cycle begins again.
So that's like a smaller conversation of the 43-minute video that I put in there, but it's just talking about the cycle of the country, right? Where is it at? It's obviously the world currency right now. There's clear decline happening, and there's clear rise in China that's happening. But he talks about being able to extend it and all of this stuff in that 43-minute video. But he was getting at the point of printing money. And in the longer video that he expounds really there on this is how they pretty much extend the system. When the house of cards begin to fall, right? Which the last one that we remember is 2008. Well, COVID, right? COVID was a situation where there was a meltdown happening, and then 2008. But eventually, a lot of money was printed, right? And that money ultimately is, levied and taxed on us. And like if you look at that debt calculator, like it's just kind of crazy. But anyway, they print more money, and then the asset class continues. Remember, the peaks got bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's because most people aren't asset based with the money that they have or with any of the wealth that they have. But as Brother Joel talks about it in like our investing sessions, well, one, he talks specifically about the stock market being rigged to go up, right? Like it's rigged to go up over time. So you just have to, have yourself leveraged appropriately, and you'll win, right? Because everything is kind of geared towards that happening. This is why the housing market is similar, because they will intervene and, turn things around economically to better favor the housing market, to better favor the stock market, all of these things. But when they put a new influx of money, the inflation occurs, but that's also rises the home values, it rises the values of stock. But if you're not in that game, you don't take part in any of that benefit. And no, it's not great, but at least you got something out of it now that you can leverage against and loan against in order to have cash to operate. Whereas people who aren't invested, they don't. And this is why generation after generation happens and the gap gets bigger because we don't own them. So I just had that thought about like what's happening, and then like if you just watch what the president is pushing through, right? I mean, he got the House and the Senate. I don't really understand how it gets stopped or anything like that, but it's going to be some like $4 to $6 trillion that they're going to end up printing um, to push things through, right? So like here we go with another round of inflation. The cost of everything is going to go up. And the only real question is, do you have assets that are going to inflate in value as well? All right. Any thoughts on any of that? That's just me and my mumblings there. Yes, there's always been those in the stock market and banking world working together. Yeah, all of these people and the politics, like when you just got to step back from the emotions of Republican and Democrat, right? Ain't neither one of them ever been your friend, right? Let's just be real about who these people are. But they're in the House and Senate voting, and all of these people are for better purposes. They're the 5%ers, right? The 1%, the 5%, like they don't really understand your strife and value. But they are properly leveraged in assets. Their families are properly leveraged in these assets, in these stocks, in the land in America, in the investment scene, in the businesses. They're properly leveraged in those things that are going to go up in value. And they're the ones that you got to rely on to vote in a way that's going to help you, right? Like it's deep. Um, Sister Charlotte, thought y'all was gonna make me talk the whole
Here
time.
I am. Okay.
Come on in.
Uh, just to kind of get a simplified picture of how bad it's going to be, or it's already starting to be for us, and especially those of us who don't have a lot of money and we got Social Security, maybe, that kind of thing. Today, I was about to order a small item, or order from China, and the sales tax was only $2.49 on a $38.46 purchase. Well, I got down to where I was about to put in my card information, and I saw the total amount, $75.86. And I thought, wait a minute, that's not what I bought. So I had to go back through looking at the checkout slip, and I see that the import charges on a $38.46 was $31.92.
Wow.
So of course I did not buy the item. I don't need it that badly. I refuse.
Wow.
But just you people can see, even on a small scale, for the big things that we have to do, it's it's ridiculous.
They're asking again to how much?
The what do we see? $31.92 import charges on a $38.46 purchase. That included the tax and the shipping. $38. So the item itself, was what, $33 and change. And then $31.92 import charges. It's crazy, but that's where we are.
That's where we are, right? That's real. That's where we are.
Yeah, that was really real, and I refuse.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that. Like something's got. I don't. These are just my opinions, but I don't understand how that's gonna last because, he ain't just messing with our purchases, right? This ain't just our purchases, right? Like those
Right.
docks along the western coast of the country, are not as full as they need to
To
be,
be.
for the trucks to be working. Like it's a lot of money. The rail system, the industrial flights that carry stuff to and fro, like there's a lot of money being disrupted. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. This guy is
Dangerous.
wild. I don't know what else to say.
Can I
Dangerous.
jump in?
Absolutely dangerous.
Yeah. Who is that trying to jump in here?
Darva.
Come on in, sister.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to say that the video you just played, I've always knew about the 12 powers to be that was controlling all of the wealth, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and all of the rest of them, right? I know that there's new millionaires right now that's doing the same thing, billionaires. Well, I mean, they are old money, but we have the new money. But what the word of God teaches us that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. I believe that's what's happening when COVID came. I mean, me being who I am and whatever, I just speak things how I see them. And everybody may not see it like I see it, they may not agree. I can get into a whole story about the money thing, the commodity firms that I worked for in my 20s, and just about the 5 millionaires that at 13 years of age, I worked for 5 Black millionaires in Chicago. But what you just said makes a lot of sense because I keep telling people the 2016, 19, and 2019, those were when 2019 came, I was working for the federal government, and they were talking about, the COVID wasn't out then, but then I prophesied that something was going to happen in 2020. I said it on the prayer call and everything. And because of the web transfer and because of what they have done, I don't know who did the video or whatever, but the person on the video said exactly what I've been telling people. The 400 years of slavery or whatever, having us in bondage, that was the 2019 release that the Holy Spirit, that God was saying that this is where Black people or the enslaved people or the people that went through what we went through were supposed to get the web transfer. So what they did is they decided to come up with COVID-19, which COVID-19 from spiritual, I'm looking at things on the spiritual side. I don't do a lot of worldly things because everything right now is being controlled by the universe, by spiritual things and a high level of things. And I was telling people that the COVID, I don't like to talk a lot because a lot of people are not there mentally or spiritually, and it's kind of hard to get things across to people that don't understand or don't have the wisdom or knowledge and don't even have the third eye to operate within. But I was trying to tell people that they had to bring something about to keep us from getting our wealth transfer, which was everybody keep calling the reparations. But it's the wealth transfer that the word of God talks about. I have to bring up worldly things and spiritual things because we're in a spiritual warfare right now. And so what I was trying to say is what you said, but you said something different, Freddie, but it was the same thing that I'm talking about. They had to create wealth. They had to create a catastrophe so that they can find a reason to say, we need to get money. We need money. We need money. COVID was in 195 countries. COVID was in every country, but the whole battle was between China and the United States from what I see in the spirit. And so what they had to do is they wanted to, like you said, our government, they don't have the money. The money comes from us because we pay taxes and things of that sort. And so they had to create something so they can print more money, because that's what this whole United States Constitution was built up on, money transfer and wealth. And so when I heard the video, I was like, this is what I've been telling people, but they're not understanding. Then you just said it, but not in the same words, but you brought up COVID. And I know that that was a cover up for the wealth transfer to keep from getting money into Black people's hands, because the wealth of the wicked is laid us for the righteous, which is us, the chosen people. And so I brought that up because right now, it's so much I got on my mind and plate, but I just want to say that I believe that the COVID-19 was a setup to get the wealth that's coming. The United Nations in January of 2020, they had a meeting And nobody know, and I doubt to a lot of people that knew about what's going on out here on a lot of different things, conspiracy theories, whatever you want to call it. And I said, you know, brother, did you know they just had a meeting with the United Nations? And he said, no, I didn't know that. Nobody knew because nobody talked about it, but it was brought to me. And, you know, so I saw it. So what I'm trying to say is that you're right, Freddie. What it's all about the wealth transfer, is about the financial district, is about everything dealing with the money, because the only one who controls everything holds the wealth in their hands, the wealth. So what our thing with our Black people is that what we did, they tricked us to believing after slavery and all other things, we invented more things. We created the whole United States of America. Everything was many things was we had many people that I'm not created, but many people that developed things like like the .com and all back in the slavery time and up to right now. We are still building up our building up this country, but we're not getting credit for it, because I just found out recently that the lady who created .com, and I was like, it was a Black lady. Then I'm finding out more and more as I look at your things and other people's things. So what I'm trying to say is that our thing financially, because we don't own any banks. The bankers that back in the day, the Rockefellers, all of this stuff, I did a research on all of the Rothschild family. So what they have done is put us in a situation where we still have the people that's the house Negroes, which are our politicians, which are pastors. And I bring that up because I've been in politics for 40 years. I helped hundreds of people get in office, but I didn't know at the time that they were part of the problem that's going on in our Black community, neighborhoods, and blocks, not just in Chicago. It is all across the United States. When I talk to people in 25 different cities, they're saying, hey, we going through what you are going through in Chicago. I'm like, really? So everything is done by design. And I think, Freddie, what we have done, they tricked us into being very materialistic and monetary, as to where they didn't teach us in school about investing and banking and all that stuff. I've been in real estate since I was in my 20s, working with one of the largest real estates in the city of Chicago, politics, and I used to work for the Mercantile Exchange. I did not trade or anything, but I was there in every department and on the trading floor, just looking on and seeing what was going on. I've been around 5 millionaires that no longer here. Only one is still living, that own McDonald's, the Johnson Products people, the Luster people, the 87th Street, South Street people, Fashion Fair, and Black Opal. Those were millionaire companies that I worked for as in my high school. So what I'm trying to bring up is that as I listen to you and I'm listening to everybody else, this is a very serious situation that we're in, because Freddie, I want to say this, I'm on BON radio, on different radios all week long, and I have my own show, I have other things going on. What I see right now, and I told them this, BON is supposed to be a Black radio station for Black people, but do we know who owns BON? Maybe some people know, some people don't, but that's not the problem. The problem is I see right now that something is happening. It could be spiritual, it could be demonic, it could be just people. It's dividing African American people with this Trump and this stuff that they keep talking about, Freddie, all on it's like a madhouse. And I told them, I don't want to even come back to the radio. I don't want to even do this stuff anymore, because all I see is division. And it's about money, but it's about everything. Something in this atmosphere is causing African American people to keep us from unifying. And so this is why I have other people are saying, well, Trump is the reason why we're in this trouble right now. And then other people say, well, somebody else is, it's just like a thing today that I just told the congressman and everybody. And I tell them, because I put them in these positions. I help them, 40 years ago, I did everything that I could do to help people. Another thing I want to say, Freddie, to everybody is that I had a chance to buy up a lot of properties, vacant lots and buildings through some other race of people. I couldn't do it because I didn't have enough Black people with the mindset. When I said, here's a list of 100 properties, the guy is going to pay for them. He owns them, but I'm going to bring you all to the table with me. And then what we can do is we can collaborate, because we had like single family houses, townhouses, 12 units. I still got the list and everything, but I'm saying, when I come with Black people to talk about finance and wealth, I don't think they understand it. It's a mindset of our people that are causing the demise of our people. But for our people to stay stagnant in it, because they are not thinking, they're looking at pennies while everybody else is getting millions. And so I wanted to say this also. I had got a contract to help our people to make money, and it was a large contract. I don't want to say it, how much it was. And all I had to do was get the people to come and go fulfill the contract. So there's about 3 different type of things that I had experienced that was paying, that was well off, where we could have got together, did the contracts, and then we could have bought up the whole Chicago or whatever, suburbs or whatever. And so what happened is, my problem has been that I can never, although I know millions of people, thousands, politicians, everybody, but I haven't not been able to grab hold to the mindset of people that say, we're hungry, we're broke, the politicians not helping us, they're not giving us the things that we deserve and we need, but that God gave them to me to bring them to you. But then when I bring it, it's like our people want to not, I guess it's more like an insecure, inferior type of thing. When you see somebody that's Black, that's doing something great and that can help you get to where you need to get financially, that's when I see that we come into a disunity type of thing. And so I decided that I would not work with any more adults, grown people. I decided that I would take my time and work with young people, because I think that the grown-ups or people up in age, I believe they have been so brainwashed that they do not understand that if we don't do what we have to do, it's done. It's over for us. And I think the young people are the ones that's gonna do what needs to be done. That reminds me of this as I close out. It reminds me of Moses when he was trying to free the Israelites, but they kept complaining and murmuring during those days, although Yahweh had said, come on, you're coming out of Egypt. You're going to the promised land, but I don't know. It was different things. Moses and Miriam and the brother was doing Aaron. And God said, this is it. I'm going to get rid of 12, every 12 tribes of Judah. He named them all in the books of Numbers, and he said, I'm going to get rid of all of you guys, anybody over the age of 21, because this is just, you guys are not listening, you're obedience. And that's, to me, what I see in the spirit today is that I'm not going to say what he's going to do to people, but I believe God is saying you're under a generational curse because of your disobedience, and the lands belong to you. You are the chosen people, but we are acting like we are the people that they want us to be. And so I believe that it's too late. It's nothing is never too late, but I believe that the adults like Moses and the rest of them, anyone after 21 years of age, God said, I have to let all of you all go. And he got rid of them. And he said, Joshua and Caleb, I want you all to go in and possess the land. And that was it. And this seemed like, to me, that is about to happen again. And that's just my theory on some of the things I've seen in the last 40 years.
I love it. I love it. All right. Yeah, you got the people fired up. All the hands went up as you
thank you, because somebody got to hear this.
You were talking through. All right. So I got Ronald, Lionel, Gregory, Courtney, and Terrence coming up. I technically got 12 minutes, but let's see how much we need to
I'm sorry for
expand.
taking up all your time.
But all right, come on, brother Ronald.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What I just don't understand, first of all, China China owns 40% of this country's national debt. So why would this crazy man pick a fight with somebody like that? First of all, China's not afraid of anybody. They're not afraid of us financially. They're not afraid of us militarily. So what in the world is this man thinking about? That's all I got.
Not.
They say not thinking.
Not thinking.
Yeah. All right. Brother Lionel.
What's going on? You know me as Professor Maven. How you doing?
Hey, good brother. How you
Long
doing?
time ain't spoke to you in a while.
Yeah, good to see
Oh
you.
man, this is a wonderful Sunday dinner. Um, just to piggyback what you were saying, it's so true. But back in the day, and I served 24 years for our country in the military. War was about that, going in countries and causing all kinds of mess to get us to get behind it and spend money is in the same way they used to do it, but then in the way of war.
That's what I was
They
doing.
can't get over it that way now because of, people ain't going with thousands and thousands of people getting killed anymore. So it's a cyber war now, But Sister Watkins, you hit it on the jack. When people ask me, well, how did he get back into presidency? Well, I just say we're in the time of Babylon, where we've been punished for not following and going along. You know what I'm saying?
this is.
That's why. You see what I'm saying? But what I tell everybody is good times, because guess what? It's bringing us together. It's uniting us. It's making us stronger. Because with all the DEI crap that's going on, the erase this and that, and look at you, brother, you right at the right time. See what I'm saying? Because while they trying to erase everything on the public level platform, guess what? You're gonna get stronger because more people are going to now be hungry. You see what I'm saying? We gotta get tired of people trying to teach us what we should already know. We got to invest in ourselves. Folks, we are the product. We are what made this country. Basically, we are the ones that made the world. When are we going to get that in our thick heads that we are the answer and stop looking for answer outside of you? Because just like this is said, everything that's been invented or impacted to make this country who it is because of us. And the fact that you have erased it in the books and not shared it with us, because if you did, there would be no stopping us. Now, what we just witnessed right now with a powerful father is Deion Sanders for what they did, a public lynching of Shador Sanders, a great young man, achieved what he achieved, but they had to do what they had to do to prove to the rest. Don't you come up there being so confident and strong and this and that. We don't care who your daddy is. We're gonna teach you a lesson. You see what I'm saying? If y'all didn't witness what really happened, that was collusion across the board. But this is what they don't want. They don't want you to be confident. They don't want you to be knowledgeable, okay? Because they know you better than you know yourself, where you stand from and what you're about and what you can do. And we don't know it as a whole. And that's what we got to do. So, Freddie, I've been with you since day one.
Yeah.
It's going to get bigger because now the more they do this DEI, and which y'all didn't understand, who hosts the most jobs in the government? It's always been a goal for us to get a state job and a government job, right? Because we couldn't get anywhere else higher. So the DEI, guess who they've been cutting? Us. Those jobs maintained by women and in men. You see what I'm saying? Who the first person they cut when he came in office? The black general. You see what I'm saying? The woman general. You see what I'm saying? Folks got to wake up. But we got to stop looking for people who don't want to give us the answers, who don't want to help us, and turn to each other. So, Freddie, this is the time. It's good time. Because what do we do best when times get harder? We are more resilient and we get stronger. So God bless you all. But yes, let's turn to each other. And yes, you got to have some assets, like Freddie said, because that's the solid thing that holds you in place with everybody else. We keep thinking of the bag, the money, money, money. No, you need assets. Stop selling. I got four kids, and I got 3 out of 4 of those kids are house owners. And we make sure nothing is sold. I built a foundation IT company, gave it to my son. We got to instill and work with each other and invest in each other. And like the sister said, it's hard because when we turn to each other to look for us, you got to look at the background and the mindset, because if they don't know, that's just like bringing in a rat or whatever to destroy you. So we got to get to financial literacy. We got to get off this crap that we beyond this degrading rap and all this other kind of stuff. You see, they welcome it, but when every time we speak, anything with intellect, they shoot it down.
That's
So
right.
y'all, let's do what we got to do and pull
That's
together.
right.
God bless y'all. Ashe.
God bless you.
Ashe, good brother. All right, appreciate you, and good to see you back.
Yeah.
Brother Gregory.
Seriously, I don't know where to start. I don't. There was so much said from Sister Watkins that needs to really resonate, even though it may have sound confusing all over the place. You've got to be of the spirit, of the right spirit, to even put all together what she was saying. And I'm there with you. I really am. She packed a lot in all of that. That was just really. It should be alarming. I look at and I tell people, I know, and I'll do it on the screen. I'll say, it ain't the color of the skin, it's the DNA within, and I got the power, and I know it. Say what you want to say, do what you want to do. I got the power to do it. And that's what I wish that we knew. We do have this power, but we're not using it. When she talk about missing, Mr. Freddie, I wanted to have a one-on-one with you. I didn't know you was from Chicago. I'm in Southern Illinois, but I could validate there is money that was specifically in law, in Illinois legislation, that says supposed to go to Black people. Because of our ways, it doesn't happen. And I'm a part of the bill right here in the state of Illinois. $80 million a year. But because of the way we are, we will sit back and go with the white people and help them get what is in legislations. Black and white words.
Woo. Wow.
Black and white words. I'm saying I would like to have that one-on-one to show you. I'm looking for environmental lawyers right now because of what's happening. But I can't get our people on board. It does not connect with them.
I don't know.
And I'm talking about people with PhDs as well that will do us wrong because of the way that they see things. Oh, well, you got to work with them. What do you mean work with them? I'm not working against them. I did 22 years in the Marine Corps. I come to understand that, yeah, I pledge my allegiance to a flag for what it stands for, but guess what? Nobody knows what it does. What it stands for is one thing, what it does is another. And I'll close on this. Trump has done nothing but use the American playbook that America has used around the world on people. He just used it on the country. That ain't no lie. It worked around the world. He's using the same playbook. Closing, this time for us is nothing but sheer opportunity. If we stop missing the mark.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. I go one further, good brother. I went to Southern Illinois University.
Yeah. I'm in that community right now. I'm in Alton, Illinois.
Okay, I know where that's
at. I had to go down there because I couldn't get the people in my area to cooperate. I went down there with more people who cooperated, but then what they did is against the people. And so I had to, I have that one, I look forward to having that one-on-one with you because it's
I'll be down there in July.
I'm saying $80 million a year allocated to help Black and brown people. It's not happening. And I got the data to say it's not happening. And again, I'll say what I'm talking about is written in legislation. The word BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color, we still are not getting anything. Why? Is because we won't respond.
Right.
Yeah, let's have a conversation, brother. Just reach out to Tamiko, right? You got her info. That's I don't control my schedule, brother. Tamiko does. So
yeah, but what prompted me to say all that because of what the sister said about Here I am. I got these 100 houses right here, and I cannot get it to click. It doesn't. And I'm saying this is recent, but what she said is real. Straight up experience.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff there. All right, Courtney.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I try to keep my notes. So I'm try to think. Okay, so
who did
I
you
hear
call?
everybody's.
Courtney.
Yes,
She's
ma'am.
talking. Go ahead, Courtney.
I hear everybody's frustration, and I too, I understand it. Being a middle school teacher, I understand um a lot of the frustrations that we're facing in dealing with ourselves, as far as parents coming to school and just the whole entitlement of children, all of the different things, all the onion skin layers um, that we are experiencing. But I want us to remember eh, nobody else has been through what we've been through. Nobody, even though other people were they tried it out on other people, nobody else has experienced what we've experienced, the way we've experienced, not even in the diaspora, right? We've all been exposed to colonialism and racism, and its various and sundry manifestations. However, we are the only ones that have experienced it the way that we have experienced it. And so there are just an egregious amount of ramifications that come from that. They're just things that happen. And I said it's onion skin layers. It's not straightforward. There's onion skin. Some are thicker, some are thinner, some are transparent, some are thicker, and you can't see through them. Like we have the black people we're the nature of everything. Everything brown is natural. Everything like brown rice. Everything is healthy in its most natural state is brown. So that includes us. I mean, it just everything goes with nature in that regard. Our bodies, the women, have influenced the shape of cars and the Victorian outfits when they put the extra bump on the back because of the hot and tight Venus. We have informed and influenced the world since we've been here. The Willie Lynch letters, real or imagined or propaganda, is a real thing. It's a real dynamic that is affecting our people. And all of this will force us to unite. One of the things I would encourage us to do instead of wagging my finger, I would just encourage us to go back into the schools, churches, the synagogues, the mosques, the community organizations. Brother Freddie has a organization that's dealing with legacy building and dealing with financial means and getting ourselves together for legacy. So we're all on here. Those of you who can and are able to, then you connect with those who are like-minded. And the other ones, when they see, they will get on. But we expect everybody to act like we know. Well, we know it. Why don't they know it? Because it's a leftover. It's a remnant of what we've sustained as a people. This is mental slavery. It's been just God's will that we are still here, and it's not an accident. And so we need to go where people who do what we do go. If you know somebody who does a thing, then they have conferences, they have meetings. Go there and talk to those people. I'm getting frustrated with those who are not doing what you're doing because you're in that position because you are a leader. You are endowed with certain things for your purposes. And if you don't see it being done, you have to do it. And it may be slow when you're talking about dealing with our people. But there are other people who are like-minded who come on platforms like this and we gather and we unite and we spread across the country. It's not the fastest means, but it's faster than sitting idly in our separate corners and doing nothing. And I just wanted us to be mindful that mitochondrial DNA is a child can be created up to 4 generations, right? Can have input from up to 4 generations prior to it, right? So you can pass down trauma also through the mitochondrial DNA. And I just wanted us to be mindful that these are the microaggressions and the blatant and the institutional and the covert and otherwise all these different forms of racism and all these attacks on our mental state are not an accident, and we cannot look at each other and get mad at each other and frustrated because some of us are a little bit more clear about how it works than others, right? We're all in the same, not in the same boat, but we're all on the same spectrum, right? And so go where the people who think like you go, gather, unite, organize, and do quietly. Like you don't have to put it on blast because we don't need the other folks coming in and the people that work for the other folks coming in and trying to destroy stuff. That's always going to be a factor. But I mean, it is what it is, and I just hope that we don't. I know it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating, but we cannot get anywhere without each other. It's just up to us to decide. Look, I love you, you love me. You got a different road to go, but I know this other brother over here. I know this brother Freddie. You need to talk to him because he's doing such and such and such and such. You see what I'm saying? Like instead of just being so frustrated with each other and letting us not hold on to the momentum that we're making. We have a very a treasure right here in front of us in this platform, and I would just encourage us to continue to either mimic it or to utilize it or whatever we need to do to replicate it and to not give up on us. I yield the mic.
Excellent. Well said. I can tell you had your notes handy. You definitely got to keep your notes, right? All right. I got Sister Charlotte, and then we'll end with Deborah.
Mine is going to be short. I want to say to Sister Darva, it sounds like you have fallen into a magnanimous opportunity. However, prayerfully, you will consider your audience. You may be talking to the wrong people. The right people, I'm sure, exist to help achieve what your vision is and what will be a goal for all those involved. And I think it's a good thing to do, but you most likely are not going to ever be successful in getting a point across and get in a coalition and get in action until you actually target the right people. You got to have like people connected. And then once you organize, unify, and everybody's bought into it, I think you can get a lot of movement and be very successful at that vision. I think it's beautiful. And the other thing I want to say on my closing is that we don't have a right to remain silent. This is not a RICO situation. This is a real Black situation in America and the democracy that's being destroyed by the hour. So you have to be willing to come together and open your mouths. Don't sit home and look at the TV or listen to the radio in the car and grumble and bitch and moan. Get up and do something. As Michelle Obama said, do something. Nothing is going to get you nothing. Closed mouths don't get fed. It's been that way all along.
Amen.
Even if it ain't nurse's mother's breast, if you don't open your mouth.
Amen.
I'm done. Have a great week and be blessed, be safe.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Sister. Well said.
Amen. Amen.
And then we'll close out with Sister Deborah.
I have to be brief because I have someone at the door. I just enjoyed this time and thank you. Keep it going and have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good day. All right. Yeah. She literally had somebody at the door. But good session today, right? Good conversation all around. We learned a lot, got a lot off our chest. I think it was really good to hear the stories that everybody was sharing. I appreciate y'all spending these Sundays with me. Grandma is pleased. Y'all been showing up. But you know that one cousin that needs to be here. Y'all know who we talking about. I ain't gonna mention them. Y'all just pass the word that grandma looking for them. But hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation today. We talked a bit about wealth and wellness. And you know, I mean, there's just a lot of financial trauma, it seems like, in our communities and in our lives. So we, got to continue to have spaces like this to give us an opportunity to talk, to convene, to discuss, and to learn and build upon, right? It's not going to get better unless we get better. So let's just commit to learning some things. And generally, it's not tough. It's not hard information. It's just new information, and it's being okay with not fully grasping something. I think we talk about the microwave. So this is what's interesting about getting older, right? Like y'all see my grades now, right? Like I ain't had them the last 2 years, but um um this is what's interesting about us. We talk about this microwave society and we talk about, well, y'all know everybody, they want everything instantly now, ever since that microwave was created, y'all realize we created this society, right? Like this is our doing. These are our children that we're speaking about. These are our grandchildren that we're talking about. These are our peers that we're talking about. These are our elders that we were talking about. So if like we created this, we did. Let's stop passing the buck. We can create a better future for all of us. Donnie Simpson, I ain't heard that in so long. Um, but yeah, that we can now you gotta be all the way up. We can turn this around, right? If this is our situation that we created, I think we gotta take ownership for that. This is what we've done. And like let's just commit to turning it around. Let's continue to convene in spaces like this. Like if I would love for y'all to keep coming back Sundays, obviously, and having these conversations with us. But let's take these conversations into our group chats. Let's take these conversations into our mimosa mornings. I don't know. Let's take them into the gym or the barbershop or the salon or wherever it is that we are convening and start to expand them, right? If you enjoyed this conversation today, it's likely that you got a friend, a girlfriend, a cousin, a family member, or somebody who would enjoy it as well, right? Let's continue to spread that. And I want to say definitely invite them to Sunday dinner, right? You can always send them to urbanintellectuals.com/Sunday dinner. But I really want to start ramping these numbers up so that we can continue to build a conversation and learn from one another and be exposed to the insights that and the strengths and the knowledge base of the community, right? I'm gonna keep saying it, right? There's a lot of untapped knowledge, potential, and experience on that side of the screen, and I definitely want to create more stages where we get to share it with one another and we get to build and grow with one another. But more importantly, we're building a community. It's digital right now. Eventually, we'll start doing more in-person things. You could always come to Africa, right, with us on our Sankofa experiences. So sankofaexperience.com, you want to check out any of that. We're going to Brazil for the first time in September together, then Nigeria, and then throughout the rest of the year, we got some other African experiences. That's the only time that we come together right now, but I've been thinking about doing some things domestically. But these conversations are building towards that. It's just showing me that this is what we need, particularly about this money, this finance, and this understanding, because there's a lot of basic stuff that our community does not have in place, and it's stuff that we can do quickly that'll make us much, much stronger. So look out for more of those conversations coming in the near future. And definitely, whenever I drop this podcast, it might just be the joke of the company, right? Like, oh, we doing a podcast. Don't lower your expectations, right? We doing Zoom interviews, right? Like I ain't spending money on podcast studios and all of that. I just really want to take advantage of the technology like we are here today, right? It would be great to have this at a physical location and really have these conversations, but why not leverage the technology, right? So in with the podcast conversation, it's called Sankofa Speaks, by the way. The podcast conversation is really just about getting these experts in front of you, and so that they can pour into our community more and more rapidly. So I'm really turning up those interviews, and we've done like maybe 4 of them in the last week and a half, and I got a few more scheduled for next week. So I got a goal number in mind. So again, if you are a member, if you're inside of any of our memberships or a VIP customer, right? So I'm talking about Sankofa Club, Sankofa Circle, Sankofa Legacy. Yeah, if you're in any one of those programs, then you should check your email because you'll get a special invite to come out to all of that. But there's a lot more going on. Again, please check out our social network, right? Let me drop that link real quick. Jump on our social network and continue the discussions there. I got some stuff planned for over there, but we just shy of 300 members over there. So I think that'd be great to let's get there. Thank you, Mrs. Sunday. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Elaine. Grandma said don't miss no more, though. She was looking for you. No, I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate the conversation and the engagement. Let's continue to grow, learn, build, and share information, not only with us here on the call each Sunday, but with our families, right? I love those conversations about three generations coming together so that granddad can share his understanding of investing and the market and assets and all of those great things with them. This is the work that we all know that needs to be done. I heard the sister and the brother talking about we're the ones that we've been waiting for. It's our time. This is the right moment. Somebody's forcing us together. Let's take advantage of that and continue to do the work that we know is important, right? And let's continue to share with one another as well. So again, hopefully y'all enjoyed this Sunday dinner, and hopefully I'll see y'all next week. I forgot the topic that we got going for next week, but you'll see the emails. If you ever have any questions or thoughts or want to share anything with us, you can always send the email to support@urbanintellectuals.com, support@urbanintellectuals.com. Hopefully, I'll see you on Sankofa Universe. Again, that's our social network. Please find your way over there. I would love to continue the conversations over there as well. How we ended? My daughter still want to know how we ended. Yeah. Tell her I am trying to stay on schedule, right? Trying to make sure that we get in, we have our conversations, and we move along into the day, right? It's still Sunday. Let's enjoy our families, get ready for the work week. But I appreciate y'all and looking forward to building with you again next Sunday. Hopefully, I'll see you Tuesday for our legacy conversation. So check out your emails centered around that. Yeah, that's all I got for today. I appreciate y'all coming out. Thank you for all the new people. Hopefully we see you next week. Thank you for all our returning folks. I definitely will see y'all next week because y'all know grandma don't play. And I know you want some more of her peach cobbler. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Until next week, love, peace, and power to the people. Thank you, everybody.
And let's get rid of that.
Thank you, Freddie. Another great one. Blessings all.
See you next week.
Yes, sir.
God bless
You
everyone.
gotta get rid of that Willie Lynch chip.
And I'll be speaking next week.
We're going to hold you to it.
Okay.